win. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Good morning.
What, you thought since I was back there pouring my water?
For a second,
that-
it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
There wasn't a doubt in my brain that was going to happen.
you just need to be faster.
I don't think you can start a show without hitting that button now. Not because it's great radio, but because it aggravates the crap out of me.
Isn't it a good morning, though? It's opening day. You were all excited about it yesterday. I'm just trying to get you ready to go. Look at you. I mean, your giddy is down. You need to get your giddy up. I'm done. Wait.
Good night.
Oh. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in. Hello, hi. How do you do? Great to see you. Hope everybody's well. Hope you're having a lovely day. My dudes, my dudettes, my amigos, my amigas. Happy opening day, baby. Happy Major League Baseball opening day. It is a day that we have all been waiting for.
That'll be great, man.
It is a day that we have all been excited about.
Yes.
It is a day that we have all been looking forward to on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
It is a day that we are all fired up. Yes, indeed. It is Major League Baseball opening day. Not nope. Yep.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Except for you Braves fans and Phillies fans and Brewers fans and Mets fans, y'all got to stand down because Mother Nature decided, hey, Braves fans, you, which is a bummer, which is a major bummer. We just got to wait one more day. Okay. All right. I was on yesterday. I was on with PJ Glasser on You Better You Bet on the BetQL network.
Name drop.
And PJ was like, Rob Brown, you fired up for opening day? And I said,
Yes.
Does he call you Rob Brown?
everybody calls me Rob Brown.
Okay,
That's just my name.
I didn't know if on national radio they also call you Rob Brown.
Do you know why I put Rob Brown on the back of all my jerseys? Because that's what people call me.
Okay.
I just go Brown if that was not it.
I couldn't walk into places if I put what people call me on the back of my jersey. So,
Hey!
I answer to so many things. It's weird.
So, yesterday, Mother Nature said, bleep you Braves fans, and decided to rain across the entire northeastern Atlantic seaboard of the United States. So all of the games in that direction, and all by all, I mean both Philly hosting Atlanta, the Brew Crew visiting the Mets. Those two games are off for now. They are postponed until tomorrow. Tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, it's like if you went on Christmas Eve and said to your dear sweet spawn, hey, you jacked up about Santa coming tomorrow? Too bad. It's the day after that. You got to wait one more day. That's where I am right now.
All right. I'm not being that guy. Every time I say I'm not being that guy, obviously I'm probably being that guy. But why does baseball not played in the rain? It didn't work. You're just trying to find a spot. Why is baseball not played in the rain?
Because it's hard to hit, catch, and throw a wet baseball.
Is it? Is that the reason?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're guessing.
Yeah.
I'm
telling you, I'm a former, not major league, but former baseball player.
The certainty there is just I don't hear it.
They will play baseball in a light rain. They won't play baseball in lightning. Obviously, you don't play anything in lightning. That's the dumbest thing.
They did it in the natural, and that's like historically accurate, right?
Yes, it is. It very obviously is. Coming up on the show today, a lot of baseball. A lot of baseball, baby. I'm very excited about that. I'm pretty excited about it.
Hell yeah!
It is baseball's opening day.
I'm disappointed. So you're going to go the entire show and not talk about what I'm wearing. So
My loins have been tingling.
you probably shouldn't have played that after
was a wrong
that.
spot for that.
You should
That was
not
the wrong
have.
spot for that.
Now it's
This
gonna
was on me. My bad.
it's gonna be uncomfortable in here
Why
for the
are
next
you
3
wearing-
hours and 55 minutes.
Why are you wearing a cell phone company branded jersey today?
Because
Are you just a real big fan of their network?
first of all, it's a baseball jersey.
Yeah, I
which
know
you've
that,
never
but it's
seen me
a-
wear.
I didn't say it wasn't a baseball jersey. I said it's a cell phone company branded
I
jersey.
would have worn my Swatters jersey, but I put on some weight and it don't fit anymore. I don't know if you know about Swatters.
I don't know what a.
Swatters. Swatters is.
I mean, you said it 4 times. So
yeah,
I know. What it is.
I know. It's from Fallout 4,
Okay.
and because it's based in Boston, and I don't know if you got that far in the game, but you go to what's the name of their baseball park?
Fenway Pack.
Well, much of the game is centered there.
At Fenway Pack.
There's a community in there, and one of the
Baston?
guys sells baseball bats, and he sells baseballs, and he sells mitts, but it's like so many 100 years in the future, so he doesn't really know what baseball is. So he describes how they would go out and beat people up with the bats and things like that. And I got a Swatters jersey, and it's pretty sweet. This particular jersey.
Did you wear a baseball jersey just for me?
No, I did it to troll baseball people.
Oh.
This jersey I got for free. Diddy got this for me. Not the Diddy that's on the run. Not that.
No. We don't.
Not that
we do
Diddy.
not know that Diddy.
Yes.
We do not endorse that Diddy.
Never
we
even
have
been
never
to-
communicated with that Diddy.
I've barely heard any of his
Our
music.
Diddy's a good guy.
Yeah, Mike Venditti, who was.
So does he have to change now? Do we have to start calling him Venditti?
I don't know.
I feel like maybe we do.
So during one of Mark Ryan's hiatuses, he was gone for a while. I think this one was for the gallbladder. Diddy was filling in a bunch, and he did something. I can't remember what he did, but he got them to send us jerseys.
And so you wore your baseball jersey because you're very excited about baseball.
Exactly. And I'm wielding Lucille, which is the only real, kind of baseball bat that I would.
So this is like a really huge deal.
I never played baseball because all the baseball players were snobs, preppies, and punks.
Maybe, Lonzo, you should have just taken some time to get to know him.
It had to do with social. I was poor, and the poor people didn't play baseball.
All Lonzo sports had to do with beating people up. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, I like violence. So if you don't hit something in the sport, that's why I did.
It is. I'm hitting a baseball with a bat. You literally, it's a sport. You use a club.
Yeah.
Lonzo's like, if it's not a people, it's not.
I
Good
mean,
enough.
I could have been good at baseball. I mean, I didn't like the people.
Guess we'll never know.
It's too late now. Although I could get into boxing.
He's 57. He did say the other day, if you think I signed this contract for money, you don't know me. He said, I can't wait to shut him up. Like, for the record, that's exactly what I'd say if I was trying to get people to buy a fight for money.
He's also an actor now and
He is.
he's done one-man shows and things.
He is.
I mean, I'm not saying
His
he's
role in The Hangover is still one of the greatest cameos of any movie ever.
I can feel it.
Wait. Here
This is
comes
my
the best
favorite part.
So good. All right, kids, we gotta.
So don't you hope someone else loses a tooth when he gets punched by
Yes. We have got.
But
a
you'll
lot to
never
get
know
into.
because you won't watch it.
No, I won't. You know how I'll watch it? If I come in here on Monday and you go, Jake Paul's head spun all the way around. Mike hit him so hard that he looked ahead and then he looked 180 degrees behind him and then he looked back ahead because his head spun in a whole circle. That's when I'll go back and watch it.
Like an owl.
Yes. So, coming up on the radio broadcast today, we're going to get into baseball divisional championship projections. Yes, it's not an option.
Yes!
I'm not asking you if you want to do that, Lonzo. This is one of the rare days where Rob Brown is going to bringeth the hammer down. We're talking baseball today. It's baseball season, officially.
I'm just here to look pretty, which you can see on stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the X.
It's baseball season. All right, we're talking baseball. The 3-segment a week rule has officially expired. That part of your lives is over. And as the water boy once said,
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
so strap in. It's baseball day in America. America.
I don't think that was from that particular movie.
It wasn't. That's from The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
Personal file. He was giving them the business.
So we're going to get into baseball. But not only baseball. It's not only baseball because the Carolina Panthers have signed a big name player. Former Baltimore Raven, former South Carolina Gamecock, Jadeveon Clowney is a big cat now.
He's former of several different teams.
Yeah,
He
he's
just went-
former 4 teams in the last 5 years. But you know what else he is former? He is former 9.5 sacks for the Ravens last year, which, if you're keeping track in the Rob Brown Show Home Edition, is statistically true. More sacks than Brian Burns had last year. And you're catching him on a 2-year, $20 million deal, which is $10 million a year. Actually, it's technically about 5 over the course of the lifespan. A season, but that is less money than Brian Burns wanted for more sacks than Brian Burns produced. And oh, by the way, not only do you get him, but you get him and K'Lavon Chaisson and about 3 other players all collectively for what you were going to want to pay Brian Burns. I'm a silver lining guy. I, on this show, am the eternal optimist. I am the one that is always optimist on this show. The Panthers are in a good spot.
By the way, you're mentioning the sacks, but and I don't think they keep track of how much someone is in the backfield. And his entire career in the NFL, whether he's getting a sack or not, he's back there in the quarterback's face.
He's a disruptor, bro.
Very much.
He's a disruptor.
And what he does is he frees up other people. If he doesn't get to them, they've got to account for whoever's on the other side.
Yeah. He's a disruptor. And that is, I think, something Carolina needs right now. They need a disruptor who's a sack threat. And you get both of those things with Jadeveon Clowney. He eats up blocks or he gets to the QB, one or the other. Even at 31 years old, the guy is still playing good ball. I mean, he's not Jadeveon Clowney from 5-6 years ago, but he's still a good player. And I think with all the drama that he's been through, whether it was in Cleveland, with the Myles Garrett comments, or with Baltimore last year where he signed the day before training camp in the fall. There's been some drama around Jadeveon Clowney, but I saw an interview yesterday where he laid out the reasons that he decided to come to Carolina, he and his wife, and it's like, damn, that's well thought out. Like that's a real good set of reasons.
There's another reason, and I'm sure he hasn't mentioned it, but he has to be thinking about it. Which division in the NFL has the least mobile quarterbacks?
The NFC South's in that. I got to think in that competition.
I'm just thinking about that just now.
Honestly, the only mobile quarterbacks in the game. I would not say Derek Carr's mobile. I would say he's slippery, but not mobile. Kirk Cousins is a statue, but a good throwing statue, but a statue. Bryce Young, I honestly don't think we know yet.
But that doesn't matter. He's on the same team. I'm talking about
right.
The guys that Clowney is matching up against.
And Baker Mayfield, who I would say is also slippery. I would say Baker's the most mobile / successful. The most mobile you got to go up against twice. No, listen, I freaking love this signing. I do. I love this signing. I got on the Carolina subreddit yesterday after this whole thing went through, just because I was very, very curious about the reaction from Panthers fans. And I know that many of you won't understand this reference, but the handful of you that do and love the memes will. Dan Morgan got hit with the laser eyes yesterday. He got hit with the dialed-in laser eyes yesterday, which means the Panthers fans are jacked right now, and he should be.
He could get the laser eyes sitting in his living room.
Bro, he might just actually have laser eyes.
Yeah, dude is very intense.
I got to tell you, man, like I know it's kind of early, but old Dano's having a pretty good offseason so far.
Do we have Rashad today?
We certainly do.
I can't wait to see his excitement about this.
Coming up at 8:40 this a.m., the great Rashad Beard, one half of the host of the Panther Nation podcast, available on YouTube, is going to join us here on the show. We will get his thoughts on the signing of Jadeveon Clowney, how Jadeveon fits into this defense, the financial compensation, and I'm assuming, because I believe it, Rashad will too, why it's actually really, really good of a signing for the Carolina Panthers. All that coming up at 8:40. Then at 9:20, ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo, and there is no shortage of stuff to get to in the Fight Club today. It is the penultimate Fight Club before WrestleMania next weekend. We also have AEW going down with some real interesting stuff. We have got NXT, which is picked up, but I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I could spend the entire segment talking about Cody and The Rock closing out Raw.
And by the way, really big contract news yesterday.
Ooh, I don't even know what that is.
Which means you'll have to wait for Fight Club.
9:20.
Unless you go looking it up.
Unless you go look it up. Don't do that. Don't spoil it.
Well, you can. I was talking about you.
Oh, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I don't want to know at this point. I want to be surprised. I want to pop. It's a big pop.
I don't know that you will.
Why would you take that away from me? Why wouldn't you let it roast for 3 hours and then disappoint
What's
me?
the opposite of a pop?
Apathy.
Okay.
The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, my friends, my family, my coworkers, my colleagues, my comrades in arms, it is Major League Baseball's opening day. So what do we need to do today? I'm glad you asked. I don't particularly care what Lonzo has to say.
Yes! Nope. Yes! Nope. Yes!
When we come back, we begin our trip through the Major League Baseball preseason's predictions, prognostications, and projections. We start looking at division winners. We start looking at postseason winners. We start looking at individual award winners.
Oh, yeah!
We talk baseball when we come back
That'll be great, man.
on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. You know who that is? It'll be great,
It's
man.
the Rob Brown Show on the Fan.
Sound like a country
Upstate.
singer.
It's not a country singer. Football player. That is Xavier
News Talk
Leggett.
98.9
Oh, yeah, I heard his accent is-
Dude, it's wild.
No, I saw the headline saying his accent was, but I never actually listened to it. So sounds like he's from Pickens County.
He sounds like Randy Moss, but better.
Mostly sunny into Saturday with a high of 76. Then
They
staying
asked
clear into
him-
Saturday
Where's
night with a
Xavier
low of
from?
52,
They asked
and
him
warmer
if
on
you would
Sunday.
be
I'm
good
meteorologist Tara
coming to the
Foster on
Carolina
Fan Upstate.
Panthers. And
Currently,
do you
it's
think
54
you would
degrees.
fit in here? And he goes, it'd be great, man. I was like, yeah,
There's
it
something
would,
remarkable
Xavier.
about the University of South
All I
Carolina.
want
It's
is
in the
that guy
labs,
now.
where researchers are discovering ways
Xavier
to
is
make
from
communities
Mullins,
healthier and
South
stronger.
Carolina.
Okay.
It's in the nation's
makes sense.
best first-year
Yeah,
student
Yeah, but he
experience
sounds like he's from
and
Mullins.
top-rate
Mullins
programs
is
in nursing and health
northeast
sciences.
corner of the state.
It's where more South Carolina students have access to higher
Marion
education
County.
than ever
So
before.
close to
Because
Clemson.
when you stand for
Close to
something bigger
Pickens.
than
No,
yourself,
it's way
you
on the
can
other side
create
of the state.
something
No,
that
he's from
benefits us all. Behold,
I've just
the
decided
remarkable
Mullins and
SC
Pickens are the
Comic
same.
Con is
Oh, we're
back
coming to
and
that
bigger
too,
than
Zach.
ever.
Don't
April
you
6th
worry.
and
So he's up
7th
near
at the
dark
Louisville
corner?
Convention Center, featuring artists and stars
No, isn't
like
Dark
William
Corner around here?
Shatner, Captain Kirk,
Oh.
Jim Lee from X-Men and Batman, Kate Flannery from The Office,
Oh,
Power
look at
Rangers,
this.
wrestlers, anime
Oh, that's the
stars, and
opposite
more.
side.
Tons
That's the-
of vendors with
No, you
thousands
said
of
the.
comics,
I
games, and toys.
thought you said
Tickets
west.
are
My
$30
bad.
Saturday,
My
25
bad.
Sunday, and
Okay.
only $40 for the
All right.
entire weekend. Kids 12 and under are
No,
free.
you don't.
For more details, go to sccomiccon.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Look around. You can find cars like these on auto.
See, you're saying it's in the
Like that
lower
car
state.
right in
He's
your
saying it's in the
Or if you're tailgating
northeast.
Right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on Auto Trader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro. Cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on Auto Trader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on
It's
Auto
not
Trader.
though.
Just you wait.
No, it's not.
Auto Trader.
It's not where you're saying
At
it
Target,
is.
count on our great deals.
No,
just
dude,
in
I'm looking
time
at the
for
map.
Easter.
It's
Save $5 when you spend $30 on toys
Yeah,
with Target
well,
Circle, so you can fill their
yeah,
baskets
well,
with fun.
maybe
like
it
cuddly
is.
stuffed
I don't
animals
know.
or 50-piece sidewalk chalk, all for only
No,
$5.
no, it's not.
Add an
It's
Easter
down.
chocolate
It's
phase
down.
at
It's near
BOGO 50%
Florence.
off,
It's
from Cadbury
close
to
to.
Reese's Mini Eggs
It's
and
close to
more.
Myrtle
And get
Beach.
great
Yeah,
family picks with new
yeah,
Easter
that's what I'm
looks. It's
saying.
easy with 20%
Well,
off dresses, polos,
the
and more.
stream beg to differ, and so I went and looked. Zach says it's lower state.
Sponsored by
And now,
Casino.com.
not where you pointed. That's not lower state.
Online social casino
Lower state does not mean the lower
Get
part of the
ready to
state. It
live
means
the
the whole
Chumba
Atlantic
life
seaboard.
and play
It does
over
not.
100 online
It
casino
does not.
games
Lower
for
state
free
means
at
lower state.
ChumbaCasino.com.
No, it doesn't.
No purchase necessary. VGW
Okay.
Group prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
March is here, and so is the madness.
I'm looking at it now, and there's Florence, there's Marion, there's Mullins,
Upstate is your home.
Daggum, Tabor City,
One coverage for the journey to the tourney. It's
Giants Ferry, Minor, Loris,
From Westwood One on the Fan.
North Myrtle.
97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Yeah, but come on, don't do it with the high school sports thing,
Text us
because
at
that's like,
71307.
that's all over the place.
This is the Rob Brown Show with Lonzo. Mornings on the Fan. Upstate.
Yeah, it's right here.
It's not lower state. I mean, it is lower state, but it's not. It's not where you said it
Bro,
was.
yes, I did. Here, literally, there's the border in North Carolina right there. It's like 20 miles from the border of North Carolina.
Which would make it not lower state. North Carolina.
All right, we're having a discussion debate here in the studio. If you're not watching on the stream, you should, because we have these kinds of stuff. We have these kind of discussions on the stream, and sometimes they come with helpful and handy visual aids. And now is one of those times. So we were talking during the break about
That'll be great, man.
that clip, which is from South Carolina wide receiver and potentially soon to be Carolina Panther wide receiver Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette is from Mullins, South Carolina. So we were looking up where Mullins, South Carolina is. Mullins, South Carolina is next to Marion, South Carolina. It's due south of Dillon, South Carolina. It is just northwest of Ketchup Town, South Carolina.
Yeah, is that catsup or ketchup?
No, it's Ketchup.
Okay, just curious.
It's definitely spelled Ketchup Town.
Looks like it's
South Carolina.
It's above Columbia though, so you can't be lower state and be in the middle of the state.
It is not. So here's the debate we're having. When we say upstate, mid-state, and lower state,
It's Midlands. Come on. How long have you lived here?
4 years, not long enough. Upstate, Midlands, and lower state. I have been working on the assumption that these are not like directly vertical levels of the state, right? Like Bennettsville is not upstate because it's in the top of the state. The upstate is like a diagonal line that goes from the North Carolina border, covers this area, and kind of runs like diagonal across.
I just have a question. Is Florence lower state or Midlands?
Florence, I would say that's past Columbia. That's down by Charleston. That's lower state.
No, it's not. Charleston is way down there.
Right. Charleston's lower state. But all right. So here's the question. Let me get this all the way out. And then we'll have our
By the
discussion.
way, obviously, neither one of us are from here. So, but I've lived here half my life. That doesn't mean anything because I am I'm challenged when it comes to maps.
All right.
But all of you listening are from here probably. So
let me throw the debate, the discussion we're having out now. Okay. The discussion, the debate we're having is the definition of upstate, Midlands, and lower state. The assumption I have made is that these are not vertical lines, they're diagonal lines, right? So the upstate runs from like Gaffney down to Anderson to the Georgia line in a diagonal line.
All right, so the
Midlands
people who designed Woodruff Road decided this. That's what you're saying.
Let me finish it because I have to know the answer to this. So the upstate is like a diagonal. The Midlands is like a diagonal that runs from the little bendy part of the North Carolina, South Carolina border, like the little jigsaw puzzle part, and runs down across the middle of the state diagonal. So it goes from like Lancaster. I went there last year and some of y'all got real mad at me about that.
Well, see, in Ohio, there's a Lancaster, and here I believe it's Lancaster.
I think it's Lancaster.
Yeah, I think it depends on.
And covers up from Lancaster down through like Camden, down through Columbia, down to Aiken to the border. And then the lower state is basically basically along the Atlantic seaboard from the top of the state to the bottom. So they're not like horizontal lines across the state. They're kind of diagonal across the state. How do you guys define this?
All right. According to Wikipedia, the Midlands of South Carolina consist of Calhoun, Fairfield, Kershaw, Lexington, Orangeburg, Richland, Saluda, and Sumter.
Okay, I don't know where those are, though. I mean, like, I know that you got to give me city names here.
Those are all counties.
I know that. I don't know the county
wait,
names.
wait. What county did you say that he's from?
I don't know what county he's from. He's from Mullins.
Yeah, but you said it was in Marion County.
No, I said it was next to Marion, South Carolina. I have no idea what county it's in. In fact, I can tell you here. I can tell you Mullins, SC, Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is everything. It is in Marion County. Okay, it's in Marion
which
County.
you said, by the way, because I pay attention to your every word. And according to daggum Wikipedia, I don't think that's what that is.
So how do you what is so Texas says South Carolina is divided into 4 regions: the upstate, the Midlands, the low country, and the PD region, which is great. I'm asking define those regions for me. Spur Daddy says the Florence area and next to Myrtle Beach is called the PD region.
Which would be where Mullins would be.
Yeah, that's what Spur Daddy's hit me with this morning.
Which would not be lower state.
Okay, so it's not the seaboard of South Carolina.
Which would be the East Coast, and the upper East Coast is not lower.
My map just took me all the way to Delaware. I don't care about Delaware. All right. Nobody's ever cared about Delaware.
Yeah, a lot of us don't care about Delaware. But anyway.
I don't think anybody in Delaware cares about Delaware. All right. So if I asked you guys to define what those regions are, what would they look like? There's my dumb question.
As was suggested earlier, we should call up the South Carolina High School Association and have them define to us what.
That's actually a good idea. We should just look. That's how we define regions in the South. Where are your high schools?
You know what we should do? Let's call Cole. Let's see if he's up.
That's 6:27. Lazy ass needs to be up out of bed by now.
Let's get Cole up.
Get out of bed, Cole.
Born and raised in this area, I'm sure he would know exactly where all that is.
Hey, Cole, are you awake yet?
Hell no. What kind of questions that?
All right.
You want me to text him and ask him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I want you to text him right now. I'll be like, you up?
No, I'm just going to text him and ask him, is Mullins.
You up?
Fine, I'll do that.
Just text him, you up?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the letter U also.
All right, let's get
wait a minute. I'm not doing that because that sounds like I'm asking for a booty call. So I'm not.
Why do you think I told you to send it?
Yeah, no, you almost got me. I'm not doing that.
Let's get some baseball in here. Let's just jump right in and talk about the NL East and You're My Hour Atlanta Braves, as today is not opening day for the Atlanta Braves today. Yesterday I sat in, as I mentioned, I sat in with PJ Glasser on You Better You Bet on the BetQL network and had some baseball talk with him. And we were going through the odds for divisional winners. And I found this kind of interesting. We looked at the odds for the NL East. The odds for the Atlanta Braves to win the NL East are minus 275. Minus 275 to win the division, which is basically Vegas telling you, yeah, more like way more likely than not, Atlanta's winning the division. So PJ said, all right, well, maybe there's a better bet. One of the things that you can bet on is how the division finishes 1-2, the projected order of first and second place in the division. Because I think the majority of us think the Philadelphia Phillies are likely to finish second place in that division. So we looked it up. In order to bet the Philadelphia Phillies to finish second and the Atlanta Braves to finish first, the odds for that bet are also minus 275. It's the same odds. So you're getting minus 275 to bet Atlanta to finish first. You're also getting minus 275 to bet Atlanta to finish first and Philly to finish second, which is kind of silly because it's effectively a two-leg parlay. And anytime that you add a parlay, you get the combined odds of the two bets, and you usually get a little bit of extra juice in there because you're taking a risk because you need two things to go right. And it's hard enough to get one thing to go right. So with these two both being minus 275, Braves to win the division outright and Braves Phillies to finish 1-2, that's Vegas just telling you this is how this division's going to finish. Now, in sports, rarely is Vegas going to be so heavy-handed with a pick. In sports, very rarely is Vegas going to list odds like that because they're effectively making a guarantee, right? They're effectively making a guarantee, and they don't like to do that. They want to get 50% of the money on one side, and they want to get 50% of the money on the other side. That's always the game plan. Get 50% of the money on both sides. So that way they win either way with that minus 110 style number. If there's a number like 270, what they're basically doing is they're trying to get most of you not to bet on it. Because you're going to look and you go minus 270. That means you've got to bet $270 to win 100. You got to bet $27 to win 10. So if anything goes squirrely, and that bet doesn't hit, right? Like Atlanta loses in one chaotic bus accident. Acuna and Albies and Olsen and Murphy and whoever else, Ozuna, all get hurt, and they all have to miss 3 months of the season. You're not going to make that bet, or at least you're less likely to make that bet. Because if anything goes wrong, you got to bet a lot more to win the normal amount you're accustomed to. So Vegas doesn't do that. Them going minus 270 is effectively, at least as far as the division winner goes, a guarantee that you're going to win. So for them to go Phillies and Braves combined to finish 1-2 at minus 270 tells you that's what's going to happen. It's not a question mark here. That's what's going to happen. So the question mark for Atlanta to me is not will they win the division. The question mark is when they win the division, who do they get in the opening of the divisional round of the playoffs? And who would be most likely to eliminate Atlanta in the opening round of the playoff? Right now, Philly seems to be the answer again. As we mentioned a couple times, Philadelphia is a team that's built for the playoffs. Philadelphia has put together a slugging unit that if they get white hot going into the playoffs, whoever catches them first is going to be in a lot of trouble. The problem you have if you're the Atlanta Braves is by winning your division, smoking your division, as I think Atlanta will, because their win total is 101.5. And as I've told you, I'm throwing the house at that over. I'm betting everything on that over. So if you go with that 101.5, that means the Phillies are going to take a bunch of L's to Atlanta over the course of the year. And if they do that, the likelihood that they are a further down wild card seed and therefore would travel to Atlanta in the NLDS opening salvo, that would be a problem because this is a team in Philly built for the postseason. How do I know? Well, because the Braves have been eliminated by this team twice out of the last 2 years in the postseason, in the NLDS. And the problem you have, once again, if you are Atlanta, is that Philly, while they did not get any better, they very clearly didn't need to, at least not to beat you in the postseason. And all the guys that you were worried about coming back, guys like Bryce Harper, guys like Wheeler, guys like Nola, they all resigned. They're all back. The Braves killers are all back on this team this year. So the question, if you are the ATL, is how do we give ourselves the best possible reality where if we do catch Philly in the NLDS again, we don't have that nightmare scenario of getting bounced 3 times in 3 seasons by the Phillies? And the answer at this point to me is very simple. If you are the Braves, you have got to protect your starting pitching. And if you are the Braves, I don't care if you get to 99 wins in 120 games. You got to play through the end of the season. You have got to carry the Momo through the end of the season. It is not an option. You have got to carry the momentum into the playoffs. If you do not carry the momentum into the playoffs, the Phillies will. It is just their MO. It is what they have been doing for years now. They get white hot going into the playoffs, and then once you step up against them in the playoffs, they're on a roll, and you're trying to bounce back from being off the bye week. This is a year that, and it goes contrary to the way that most people handle this, but I think if you want different results, you've got to go through a different process. If you want to get out of this one alive and you don't want to eat the 3rd elimination to Philly in a row, because I do think, to me, the way I have the bracket finishing up, I think Philly in the NLDS is a strong possibility. If you don't want to happen again, what's happened the last 2 seasons consecutively for Atlanta, getting bounced by Philly in the NLDS, you got to play all the way through the season. You got to play all the way through the season. When it gets to be game 150, 151, 152, 153, when you have locked up your playoff spot, when you have, and for the record, I think one thing that's going to help here is I do think the Braves and the Dodgers may be battling all the way down to the final regular season game of the year. I think that's actually a bit of a help for Atlanta. But even if not, even if the Dodgers fall off and Atlanta is sitting there with the 1 seed wrapped up, 2 weeks before the end of the regular season, I think you got to play through it. I think you've got to carry the Momo into the playoffs, because if you give it back to Philly, you just subject yourself to another depressing end of the season. And I do not think it's unfair. And I'll ask this question to you guys, Braves fans. I do not think that it is unfair this year to say that anything less than a World Series is a failure. We talked earlier in the week about Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. McDermott was talking to the media, and he said, Coach, how do you, the media said something along the lines of, Coach, how do you respond to the people that are saying that your tenure as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills is a failure so far? And Sean McDermott said, hey, man, just because we haven't won a Super Bowl doesn't mean that we are failures. I don't know how to tell you how strongly I disagree with that. Now, I would say just because you haven't won a Super Bowl doesn't mean that you deserve to be fired. Just because you haven't won a Super Bowl doesn't mean that you should be shipped off to Sri Lanka. Winning a Super Bowl is hard to do, and only one team can do it. Winning a World Series is hard to do, and only one team can do it. So, winning a Super Bowl, winning a World Series, or I should say not winning a World Series is certainly not the end of the world. It certainly doesn't make you gigantic losers. It certainly does not mean that you should be sent to the gulag. It just means that you failed. You can fail successfully, but you failed. The Buffalo Bills.
You can fail successfully.
Yeah, man. You go out there, you have a good season, you get better, you set yourself up for a better run the next year. I failed many things successfully. I fail this show successfully all the time. Failing successfully, it's like a moral/morale victory. You still failed. Let's be clear. Sean McDermott, you have failed. You are wasting the career of Josh Allen, a guy that many of us think should be one of the most elite quarterbacks of our lifetime. You are failing that guy, and you are failing this team. Doesn't mean I think you should be canned. I do, but it doesn't mean I necessarily have to. If the Atlanta Braves, with the roster that they have built, with the lineup that they have built, with the rotation that they have built, with the bullpen that they have built, if the Atlanta Braves do anything but win the World Series this year, it's a disappointment. Not just a failure, but a disappointment. And baseball playoffs are baseball playoffs. Weird stuff happens. Weird stuff happens every year. Like, for instance, the Arizona Diamondbacks sweeping the all-star roster of the Los Angeles Dodgers last year. That wasn't supposed to happen. The Diamondbacks last year were like plus 275 underdogs to the Dodgers, and they swept them 4 straight. Last year was a failure for the LA Dodgers. Ain't no doubt about it. It was a failure for the LA Dodgers. I think if the Atlanta Braves don't, I would even be willing to back that down and say, make it to the World Series. Now, if they say lose to the Dodgers in 7 in the NLCS, and at that point, the Dodgers are cooking, as Russ says, okay, stinks, man. You ran up against an all-star caliber team. That makes it real hard to succeed, for sure. But they're going to be the 2 seed. You will only see them in the NLCS. And if you see them in the NLCS, you better take them to 7. But I genuinely feel the Braves are better than the Dodgers right now. And if you've listened to the show at all, you know I like to have fun talking about my teams being great, Derek Carr being a future Hall of Famer. But if you want to actually talk football, I'll tell you when my team stinks. The Saints stink. If we're honestly talking baseball, I think the Atlanta Braves 1 through 9 have the best lineup in baseball. 1 through 5 have a top 5 rotation in baseball. 1 through 6, 1 through 7, the Braves have a top 10 bullpen in baseball. Defensively, I think the Braves have the best defensive lineup in baseball. Everything is there. This team is balanced. This team is now veteran at this point, right? Like this, the last couple of years, the Braves have been talked about as, oh, would you look at this young ball club? Would you look at all the young guys they've got out there? Would you look at all the homegrown talent that they're putting together? I don't think you can say that about this team anymore. This team won a World Series 3 years ago. This team has, in large part, been together. Even the new guys, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, these guys have now been with the team for a year and a half. It's not a shock anymore. It's not a surprise anymore. These guys have experience. They have experience. They have chemistry. All of the things that the last couple of years that we wrote off as excuses as to why the Atlanta Braves got not once, but twice shocked by the Phillies in the postseason, those excuses are gone. Those, if you want to call them this, those reasons are gone. And if those excuses or those reasons are gone, anything less than a World Series is a failure at this point, is a failure. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. We got more baseball to talk. We got to get into the NL West. I think the NL Central might be the most interesting division in baseball this year. Not best, but I think the NL Central might be the most competitive division in baseball this year. We'll talk a little bit about the AL Beast this year. Last year, it was the AL Beast for about 3 months, and then the whole damn division just collapsed. Do we think there's any chance the Red Sox can make a run through this division? Is a young Orioles team the favorite to get it done this year? We're breaking down Major League Baseball as it is opening day, baby. Let's go. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate.
Never miss a big moment with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Relive big moments. It's Rewind on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive. The Panthers and Jadeveon Clowney have agreed
May
to
or
a
may
deal.
not be a
Clowney, the
can of
top
that
overall
left
pick
in
in the
the dressing
2014 draft, is a native of
Oh,
Rock Hill,
yeah.
South
Oh.
Carolina. He was a star at South Point High
I don't
School.
know if it's
He
still
also
there.
attended the University of South Carolina.
Do
The
I want it
Texans
if
took
it
him first
is?
overall in
No,
2014.
it was open,
He'll get
I think.
bonuses
Oh,
for
then I
reaching
definitely-
18
Yeah, I was just
touchdowns
saying you may
each
want to
season.
throw it
The
away
deal worth
because
about $20 million over 2 years.
somebody else
Into
may have
today's
already.
Sweet
Cleaning crew was
16,
here, I think.
Sixth seed
so.
Clemson takes on second seed Arizona in the West region. That game tips off just after 7 o'clock. The Tigers 23-11, Arizona 27-8. Then later tonight, top seed North Carolina takes on fourth seed Alabama in the West regional. The Tar Heels are 29-7. The Crimson Tide 23-11. NBA Wednesday, the Hornets beat the Cavaliers 118-111. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. Looks like they've been doing overnight road work northbound 85 in the Pelham Road area. Right now, you've got 7 minutes added to your trip north, starting at Highway 276 up to Pelham. Westbound 29, Wade Hampton, there's some congestion at the intersection of 29 and 136. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a realtor can help answer. Because realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Heard the catchphrase that's sweeping the nation?
Jackson, Hugh, yeah.
People are saying Jackson Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt because they love saving money on tax prep. Do you love saving money? Then switch to Jackson Hewitt today and pay less than last year. Thousands of people have already made the switch. Why haven't you? Stop waiting and start filing. You won't get a better deal or a better catchphrase. All together now.
Jackson Hugh, yeah!
Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan. The Fan!
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
Rise and shine, sports fans. Grab your coffee and a jolt of sports on the Rob Brown Show.
Puts me in my zone. It gets me ready for the day.
On the Fan Upstate.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. Ronald Acuna Jr. is your odds-on favorite to win the National League MVP in back-to-back seasons, but will he? I don't know is the answer. Can he? Absolutely. There's a couple of things that are going to be working against Ronald Acuna Jr. this year. I think one of the things that's going to be working against Ronald Acuna Jr. is the fact that he is surrounded by all-stars. This Braves team has, I believe 7 returning all-stars this year. I said yesterday as a joke, and the more I thought about it, the more I think I'm wrong. The National League All-Star team this year is going to be comprised of one representative from every team that's not the Dodgers and the Braves, and then all the rest will be Dodgers and Braves. Really, it's going to be, there could be a point, theoretically, there could be a point in the All-Star game this year where every position on the field for the National League All-Star team is occupied by either a player from the Atlanta Braves or a player from the Los Angeles Dodgers. I truly think that's a realistic possibility. That being said, I think Ronnie is surrounded by so much talent. Last year, Ronnie and Mookie Betts, until about a month left in the season, were neck and neck for the National League MVP. Ronnie ended up breaking away and winning it when it became obvious that Ronnie was going to end up not in, but establishing the 4070 Club, a club that he is the only member of. And I do think there's a chance that he could become a 2-time member of the 4070 Club this year. I don't know if there's anybody else who's going to be in the mix. But there were some guys close to him last year, and I think the 4070 Club membership is what pushed him over the edge. This year, going back to the 4070 Club would be obviously a huge argument for Ronnie to go back-to-back, but I don't know that it will be the definitive period on the sentence like it was last year. And even if he does, the argument's going to be out there that he is surrounded by so much talent that, of course, he's going to be made to look good. Guys on other teams that are in the Ronnie Acuna Jr. stratosphere, they're not going to get pitched to as much. They're going to be looked around. They're going to have fewer opportunities because they're not protected both before and after in the lineup. They're not in a lineup where if you don't pitch to this all-star in like all but 2 spots in the lineup, the next guy's an all-star. So I think that there's that. I think the possibility, remember last year we were having the discussion about Joker, about the big dog out in Denver getting a trio of consecutive MVP awards. And it didn't happen. They gave it to Joel Embiid, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of us believed that for the 3rd year in a row, there was no doubt about it, Nikola Jokic was the MVP. But what were the 2 words that we heard about Nikola Jokic all the way up to the offseason? Voter fatigue, voter fatigue, voter fatigue. The voters are going to eventually get tired of logging votes for the same guy. I think it's stupid. I despise it. The MVP, when they have a clear-cut MVP, is the MVP. I don't care if they won it 60 times in a row. The MVP is the MVP. But voter fatigue is a real thing, and there is no more uptight, arrogant, obnoxious, narcissistic group of people in America than the Major League Baseball Writers Association. They're just annoying. As a baseball guy, they're just annoying. So would they have a single year of voter fatigue, a single year where they don't want to give it to the same guy because they just don't want to give it to the same guy? The third thing I think Ronnie has working against them this year, we all know that same group, Baseball Writers Association of America, is comprised largely of guys from the East Coast, specifically from the New York area. The Yankees this year have 2 guys specifically that are already in the discussion for MVP. Aaron Judge is one of them, and Juan Soto is one of them. Juan Soto was an MVP caliber player when he was with the DC Nationals. He gets sent to San Diego. He kind of gets lost in the sauce a little bit out in San Diego. I have given you my reasons why. We don't have to get too deep into it, but long and short of it is, I think San Diego was an unstructured, loosey-goosey players' funhouse that just did not have guys working together. And I get the impression, based on the limited stuff I've seen, heard, read about him, I get the impression that Juan Soto is kind of one of those guys that needs structure, that needs regulation. We've all worked with that cat in the past, that when you put him under the gun, he does great work, but you got to kind of stay on top of him, right? That guy that you got to make sure he knows, hey, your deadline is 3 days. And then the next day you got to say your deadline's in 2 days. And then the next day you got to say your deadline's in a day. And you got to keep the pressure cooking on. You've got to threaten him with consequences. But once you do that, even it's annoying to do it, the guy gives you tremendous results. So good that you can't replace him. I think that's Juan Soto. What place is more regulated, more regimented than the New York freaking Yankees? There's not one. So if my theory is correct, Juan Soto is an MVP candidate. Aaron Judge, if he's able to get back to that 50 dinger mark. And remember, Aaron Judge has already said, hey, my foot's just injured now. It's just going to be injured for the rest of my career. I just live with a busted wheel now. But knowing that, you can structure around that. You know, if the Oakland A's are coming to town, you can give Aaron Judge a day off or two to rest that foot up. And if they can regiment that and take care of that, Aaron Judge is a 50 home run threat. He could be that. I like Ronnie. I think Ronnie could do it. There's a lot of factors going against him. The MVP of this show is obviously Lonzo.
And let's continue with the baseball. Today is Major League Baseball's opening day, but not for fans of the Atlanta Braves. The Braves opener at Philly has been delayed until tomorrow due to rain in the area. Highlight games today include Yankees versus Astros, Giants at Padres, and Cardinals at Dodgers. All start at 4:10 p.m. Cubs at Rangers at 7:35, and Boston and Seattle and Colorado at Arizona at 10:10 tonight. The Panthers pass rush got better yesterday as former South Carolina Gamecock Jadeveon Clowney signed a 2-year, $20 million contract with $4 million in incentives. Clowney had 9.5 sacks last year, which the Panthers hope can help a defense that ranked last in that statistic. Clowney is a 3-time Pro Bowler. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire, with Cole Bryson and Diesel, right here on The Fan, Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. There's a crash southbound 85 at Malden Road, mile marker 46. It has things stop and go, and you have about a 10-minute delay. Looks like they've been doing overnight road work northbound 85 in the Pelham Road area. Right now, you're adding about 10 minutes to your drive northbound, starting at State Highway 291. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on The Fan, Upstate.
You know what happens when a smart group of medical professionals get together and commit to a technology designed to relieve your aching joints without surgery? It's called QC Kinetics.
And this guy knows the power of a solid team. Emmitt Smith, football legend and Dancing with the Stars champ.
This elite medical group, some of them orthopedic doctors, got together and said, why are we prescribing so many medications? Why are we sending so many people to surgery in droves? Let's change this.
The answer? Natural biologics, our own healing properties. And the outcome is the country's largest provider of non-surgical regenerative treatments, QC Kinetics.
Actually, the real outcome are the tens of thousands of patients who finally got their quality of life back without surgery, thanks to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Mount Valley Foundation Services. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at fixmyfoundation.com.
Let's Save Lives. An introduction to suicide prevention is an education program designed by and for the Black community. To learn more, go to afsp.org/chapters. AFSP is an I'm Listening partner. Learn more at imlistening.org and on the Odyssey app.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2024 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 7 premier upstate courses, and it's only $80. Order at upstategolfcard.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $80. Upstategolfcard.com.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, because Lowe's knows home improvement.
There's some pretty bad voice.
He's like, oh, so you think you can challenge
Hey,
me?
from State Farm.
Watch me hit
I'm
these
winning.
rocks with the club
I finally
and see
cleaned
if
my
you can
house,
match it
so
with
I'm
your
bringing out my new
arrows.
tropical
Does he
blue
at least
spray.
have an English accent?
Keep winning
Oh, okay.
and create an
He's a
affordable
straight
price
up,
just for you by
clearly
bundling your home and
American
auto
baseball
with the
player,
State Farm Personal Price
It's
Plan.
hysterical.
It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show. It's BetMGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on The Fan.
Upstate.
BetMGM Tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM Tonight, exclusively on The Fan.
Upstate.
And on the Odyssey app.
Upstate.
WYRB Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville. The official sports voice of you, the Upstate Fan. CBS Sports Radio. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown Lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan. Upstate.
And away we go with hour number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate. Wonderful to have you all, you good-looking ladies and gentlemen out there across the upstate of South Carolina and all the way across this beautiful country of ours. My name is Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass from me, the guy in charge of this radio program and every radio program that you ever listened to and enjoyed. He, of course, is the great one, Lonzo. If you'd like to be a part of the show, now's a wonderful time to do it. You can call us and jump on the air with the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. That's 844-FANFONE. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read your text on the radio broadcast. I'm looking for you, baseball dudes. I'm looking for you, baseball guys. Today's our day. Today is the day that the rest of America gets to deal with us. It is baseball season, my friends. So if you want to get in on that, the fan phone is open. The text line's open. Get at us. You can tweet, X, post me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, W-O-R-D. And you can get at everybody up in here at the Fan Upstate. Want to remind you, coming up at 3 o'clock today, Diesel and Cole Bryson are back with another rousing rendition of Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole. I have no doubt that my dog Cole B is going to give you his season projections and prognostications for your, my, our Atlanta Braves. I look forward to hearing what Cole has to say, see if he lines up with what I have to say or not. We got all that coming up over the course of the day today, but it is 7:02 in the morning. You are very, 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 very close to having to go to work. Boo! If you weren't one of the smart boys out there that took the day off to stay home and watch baseball, which, I get here at 4:30 in the morning, so I'm off by the time first pitch happens. But if you didn't take off and you got to work, you're going to end up talking sports at work today. And if you're going to end up talking sports at work today, you're going to need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, you're going to need this.
Feel me? For real. Do you feel him, sir? I do.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you go start talking sports around the office today with your coworkers, your colleagues, your workplace proximity associates. This is what you'll be talking about. Let us begin, ladies and gentlemen, with item number 1. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've heard it mentioned. I don't know if we've brought it up on this show yet. It has been like an hour and 4 minutes since we cracked the mics this morning. But it is officially Major League Baseball's opening day.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Game's getting started this afternoon at 3:05 p.m. It was supposed to be 1:10 p.m. when the Brewers visited the Mets, but that game has been postponed due to rain. We were also supposed to see at 3:10 this afternoon the Atlanta Braves taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Both teams trying to set the tone for the season out of the gate. Both teams will have to wait at least one more day as rain across the lovely northeastern portion of these great United States has forced those two games to be postponed. But we still do have a full day of baseball. And it starts at 3:05 this afternoon when Patrick Sandoval and his LA Angels head on over to Camden Yard to take on the Baltimore Orioles, marqueed by Corbin Burnes today. Corbin Burnes gets his first start with his new team. This, of course, is going to be interesting because Mike Trout out there with his Angels. The Angels are trying to convince the world that they actually do deserve to be mentioned in the same breath with the rest of the teams out in that division. They don't, but they're trying their best to convince you. They're going to try to get a win over the upstart Orioles, a team that is one of the two favorites tied with the New York Yankees to win the American League East. That one's at 3:05. First game, first pitch of opening day. We got the Tigers and the White Sox going today at 4:10. At 4:10, the Twins and the Royals, same time for what I think is one of the more intriguing games of the day. Nasty Nestor Cortez leads his New York Yankees into battle as they take on Cy Young candidate Framber Valdez and his Houston Astros. This one is going to be down in H-Town in Rocket City, USA. Houston hosting the Yankees at 4:10. Same time, Pittsburgh at Miami. San Francisco at San Diego. Interesting pitching matchup here. Logan Webb is expected to help the Giants make some noise out in the NL West. The Giants are a team that I do think has the capability, not that they will, but has the capability to potentially be one of the teams that sneaks in to that last wild card spot when the season comes to its conclusion. But they're going to need Logan Webb to be good this year. He gets his first crack at it today at 4:10 when they travel to San Diego to take on Yu Darvish and his Padres. Of course, Yu Darvish already has a start under his belt. He was one of the pitchers that went for the Padres in the Seoul series against the LA Dodgers last week. St. Louis is at LA. That would be the Redbirds taking on the Dodgers. Miles Mikolas taking on Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow is a guy that the Dodgers want to be able to lean on. He's also a guy who has spent his entire career playing for small market teams, off the radar, not under the microscope. Obviously, there is no team, fair or not, in baseball that has gotten the attention of the LA Dodgers. So we'll see how he handles that pressure. Toronto's at Tampa at 4:10. Jose Barrios taking on Zach Eflin. Also at 4:10, the Nats at Cincinnati. Frankie Montes going for the Reds today. The Reds are another one of those teams. I mentioned it a minute ago. I think the NL Central might be the most competitive, not the best, but the most competitive division in baseball. I think there's a very good chance the NL Central at the end of the year could have every team in it all within 3-4 games of each other. I think the Central is probably a division that is only going to send one team to the playoffs. I think only the NL Central champ is going, but who that champ's going to be, I don't know. Cubs are going to be in the mix. Cincinnati going to be in the mix. We'll see if the Nasty can compare with Frankie Montes on the bump today. Speaking of the Cubbies, they're on the road tonight. They're down in Texas, taking on the Rangers at 7:35 p.m. Love the pitching matchup here. Justin Steele on the bump for the Cubs. Nathan Eovaldi for the Rangers. Eovaldi was a guy that Texas leaned on last year, but he's also a guy that is in the back half of his career at this point, where there's Justin Steele, who is considered to be a Cy Young candidate this year for the Chicago Cubs. They're going to need that guy. Big matchup. That's on ESPN at 7:35. And then a trio of late games all starting at 10:07 tonight. The Cleveland Guardians are at the Oakland Athletics. Shane Bieber on the bump for Cleveland. Another one of those teams that is a potential division winner. They will need a lot of help out of the bats, but Shane Bieber will keep them in conversation. He takes on Alex Wood. The Red Sox are on the road. They're out on the left coast, up in the northern portion of it, as they take on the Seattle Mariners. Brian Bello versus Luis Castillo going for Seattle. Seattle, I don't know what they are, okay? I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be a disappointment. I think Seattle could range anywhere from second in that division and a second or third wild card spot. I could also see this team accomplish nothing this year, much like Jared Kelenic, who they sent over to the Atlanta Braves. The Mariners are a team that seem to have all the potential in the world on paper and none of the results for it. Is this the year they break out? They're going to try to start that tonight at home against the Bo Sox. And then we wrap it up tonight with the Colorado Rockies on the road out at Arizona. I expect nothing at all out of Colorado. They stink. They're going to be garbage. Kyle Freeland on the bump against Zach Gallen, who is a Cy Young candidate in the NL for the Diamondbacks. If you're the type of person who likes to put a little money on baseball, if you are a DraftKings guy or an underdog guy, I'm going to give you a free pick right now. Zach Gallen over on K's. I don't even care what the number's at. 7.5, 8.5. Doesn't matter. Zach Gallen's going to hit the over on the K rate today. They're going to win that game by a lot. And if you missed it, of course, Braves, Phillies, and Brew Crew Mets has been moved to tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. As of right this moment, the Braves and the Phillies scheduled to go first pitch at 3:05 p.m. tomorrow. The Brewers and the Mets are set to go at 1:40 tomorrow. Spencer Strider versus Zach Wheeler in that opening game for the Braves and the Phillies should be a spectacular matchup. Let us move on to item number 2. Is it too early to talk National Football League? No! You know why it's not too early to talk National Football League? Because on the Rob Brown Show, my friends, there ain't no off season. BetMGM is the first sports book to post its NFL win total projections. And the top teams, no surprise, Kansas City, San Francisco, Baltimore, all tied with an over-under win mark. Here, let's play Alonzo, what's wrong with me? Let's play Lonzo. The over-under win total.
Lonzo is a superstar.
There it is. I deserve that.
Yeah, not Alonzo, whoever that is.
I know. That guy's a loser. Regular Lonzo is where it's at. San Francisco, Kansas City, and Baltimore are tied for the highest projected win-loss total in the league. What's the number, Zoe?
14-2?
11.5. The highest projected win total in the NFL right now is 11.5.
Only 11.
Tell me right now that we're not going to go all in on the Chiefs, Niners, and Ravens over 11.5 wins. That's layup, right? At least 2 of those 3 are hitting. I mean, yes, if Patrick or Lamar or Brock Purdy were to go down, maybe that win total changes. But like 2 out of those 3 are finished 11.5. That's unbelievable. Here's some other numbers for you. Let's play along, Lonzo, real quick. We'll run through these. Arizona, 6.5. Over, under.
Under.
Under. Atlanta, 9.5. I hate that number. That's all over.
Ooh, I don't know. I'm still going to go under because it's going with the average from the last 5 or 6 years.
Has been 9. 9 will win you that division. It looks like I'm going to go over just by 1 though. I'm going to go Atlanta gets to 10. Baltimore 11.5.
Over.
That's a layup. That's an over. Buffalo 10.5.
I'm going to go under on that.
Are you really?
Yeah. But because I don't like Buffalo.
They should have moved that to 11.5. I'm going to go over with the 10.5. Carolina, 4.5.
I can't. I'm going over. I mean, as negative as I've been.
Take off the fan hat.
I can't.
It's your job, Alonzo. Take off.
It's not my job. My job is to push buttons. I can't take my fan hat off. No.
I actually will go over. I think they can get to 5. Chicago 8.5, Cincinnati 10.5, Cleveland 8.5, Dallas 10.5, Denver 5.5. I might bet the under on that, to be honest with you. Detroit 10.5, Green Bay 9.5, Houston 9.5, Indy 8.5, Jacksonville 8.5, Kansas City, as mentioned, 11.5, Las Vegas 6.5, the Chargers 8.5. Same with the Rams. The Dolphins 9.5, the Vikings 6.5, the Patriots 5.5, the Saints 7.5. The Giants.
Wait. You're just going to go past your team, the Saints at 7.5?
I'll take the over, but like by half. Like I think they get to 8. They get to 8
with that Hall of Fame quarterback. That's it.
They get to 8. He'll care. He will drag the carcass of Dennis Allen to 8 and 9. Giants 6.5. Jets 9.5.
If he plays more than a couple plays, they should be pretty good. And they've added more pieces.
I like that Aaron Rodgers has made it to a point in his career where Lonzo just refers to him as he. If he plays.
If you mention Jets and you say he, everyone knows who I'm talking about.
Sauce Gardner!
Exactly. Heart and soul of the team.
Eagles 10.5, Steelers 7.5, Niners 11.5, Seahawks 7.5, Tampa 7.5, Tennessee 6.5, Washington Commanders 6.5. There's your over-under win totals from BetMGM. Any jump off the page at you?
Yeah, I don't know that the Eagles are going to be that good this year.
Jason Kelce, heart and soul of that team.
I mean, he's been the center there for a very long time.
Like 50 years.
At least.
They're still going to be good. And Saquon's in the mix.
Offensive line is very important.
I don't disagree.
And not just him being the anchor of the thing, but, being the quarterback of the line. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with that.
I'll tell you this. I will take the over on that team if Saquon Barkley stays healthy all year. But you got to gamble on it, right? So there's your over-under win totals. Let's get to item number 3 before we run to a break. I don't know how I feel about this. There's part of me that's like, take it. There's part of me that's like, don't take it. You have a responsibility to the game. Ice Cube got into the news yesterday. How appropriate. Damn! Ice Cube got into the mix yesterday. Ice Cube and his Big 3 basketball league, a 3-on-3 basketball league that does have both men's and women's sides now, has offered Caitlin Clark an opportunity to play in their 3-on-3 league. Lonzo, the deal is from Ice Cube to Caitlin Clark, $5 million for 1 season. The season, 10 games long.
Who thought that league would still be around?
Who thought they'd be offering a $5 million 10-game contract?
I mean, that's my point. Who thought that league would still be around? Because it's basically watching playground ball, which is nothing wrong with that. Have you watched any of this?
I've watched a little bit of it. There's enough sports in my life that I can't really commit a ton of time to it. But the few games I've watched, I've enjoyed as a pickup ball guy.
By the way, I'm not being negative. It's awesome that it's still around. And that's a good move on his part.
Highest profile player in women's basketball.
But is this like the equivalent when Kiss owned a arena league football team and they tried to get Tim Tebow to be their quarterback? Is it like the equivalent of that? Why would she do that? How much would she make in the WNBA?
About $300,000.
See,
salaries in the top salaries in the NBA. top out around 300K. You might see like a 354. You're not seeing $1 million.
So she's got to take this. She has to take this.
I think she has to take it.
Yes.
So here's where I stand. The WNBA is a league that is starting to get starting. I'm not saying it's there.
How long is this season for the 3-on-3?
10 games.
No, I know, but I mean, when does it start? How long is it? And does it go at the same time as the WNBA season?
So here is
what I'm saying is, can she do both? Is it an exclusive contract?
Let me look at I just pulled up the Big Three website. Let me go ahead and mute that in case Cube decided this was a good way to get the mixtape out there. The Big Three tournament begins in June. June 15th is day number 1. It runs through the end of August. Well, actually, middle of August. The championship game in week 10 is at TD Garden. Listen to where they're playing right now. All right. They're playing at Oakland Arena, the Yuengling Center in Tampa, CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, the Honda Center in Anaheim, the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon, Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati, Frost Bank Center in San Antonio, Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee, and they end it at the Boston Garden. TD Garden in Boston. The
WNBA starts in May. So they would be.
Yeah, she can't do both.
She can't.
She'll have to pick one. So this is a weird spot for me. It's a weird spot for me because on one hand, the WNBA is starting to get celebrity recognition. I'm not saying it's accepted in households. I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is if you tune into WNBA games right now, you're seeing celebrities show up. You're seeing, and I'm talking A-listers show up. You're seeing Denzel and Adam Sandler showing up at these games.
So we're not talking influencers. You're talking about actual celebrities.
Movie stars, radio stars, television
Do
stars.
any of them actually own a team? And that's why they're there?
A few of them have begun to invest. And I think you're going to see more begin to invest because I will say this, even if it is not accepted as a mainstream sport yet, Lonzo, I do not think you can deny that the visibility of women's sports or of women's basketball over the past 3 years has been on a marked upward trajectory.
Well, I can only speak to this area because the best college basketball, women's college basketball coach is in South Carolina, and so is the best team.
Sure.
So, I mean, that makes it more visible around here.
I would agree. I would also say it's true nationally. I have made the argument a couple of times on the radio. The biggest star, period, point blank, full stop. The biggest star in college basketball right now is Caitlin Clark. It is Caitlin Clark. There are some stars on the dude side that are standing out. But if we're being a buck, Caitlin Clark has been on the front page in the lead segment all season long. Name me a men's basketball player that was front page news during the regular season, in the regular season for the men's side. The only one that I think really got attention was Kyle Filipowski, and that's only because of the court storming injury, not because he was out there balling out. Nobody else on the men's side got the recognition that Caitlin Clark did. Over the last couple of years, it's been Angel Reese. It's been Haley Van Lith.
But is that media driven, or is it just because she is the most outstanding player in basketball?
9.9 million people tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark play in the last round. 9.9 mil. That's on the scale.
Yeah, but
that's noticeable.
I'm not trying to be, but what's the average? Other games. How many people are watching that?
Not 9.9 mil. Now, the men's, listen, I'm not arguing the women's is as popular as the men's. It's not.
By the way, I was just talking about the women.
Yeah. Dramatically high.
Okay.
Caitlin Clark is the biggest star in college basketball right now. And she is being paid attention to a lot. So Ice Cube hitting her with an offer for $5 million, which is about 20 times more than she'll make in the WNBA to play 10 games, is interesting. My question is, does Caitlin Clark have a responsibility to promote women's basketball in the WNBA? Does she have a responsibility to go to the WNBA for dramatically less money, but try to put the real league on the map? I'm going to talk about that later in the show. We got to run to a break. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It is the Fan Upstate.
Hey, what's up? This is WWE superstar R-Truth, and you're listening to your home for pro wrestling talk in the Upstate, the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. That's what's up.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Becoming sunny today, high of 67. Tonight, mostly clear, low 39. Friday, sunny, high 71. Saturday, sunny, high 76. And Easter Sunday, sunshine 81. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 53.
Pre-spring in South Carolina means using the AC during the day and the heater at night. When your HVAC unit stops working, you need a company you can trust. Priority Heating and Air HVAC specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business comfortable and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-1847 or find them online, PriorityHeatingandAirHVAC.com.
Priority Heating and Air.
Why?
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users for scratch-made Asian cuisine. Visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites, go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Would be to shift.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Danny Green, three-time NBA champ. You either rooted for me or rooted against me. Join myself and my co-host Harrison Sanford on the Inside the Green Room podcast.
It's a podcast that brings you never-before-told tales from the locker room to candid interviews with basketball legends to breakdowns of what's happening in the NBA right now. Whether you're a diehard fan or casual about your hoops, this podcast brings you the game like never before.
Follow Inside the Green Room on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Sponsored by Great Southern Homes.
Today is the day to visit a Great Southern Homes community right here in the Upstate. Our designer decorated model homes are open daily. Live green, live smart with our energy efficient smart home plans. We add new listings daily. GreatSouthernHomes.com.
Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries.
The Odyssey app makes it easy.
With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and more. Don't miss a beat. Just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Fan Upstate. Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
This is not what I expected to talk about here, but I'm going to because Lonzo and I kept the conversation going during the break. And if you're not watching on our stream, Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. If you are not joining us on the stream every day, you absolutely should, because we very frequently have some interesting conversations on the stream that are extensions of what we talk about on the air. And we did that during the break. We talked a little bit more about this offer from Ice Cube to Caitlin Clark. I said in the last segment, and I stand on it, I think the visibility of women's sports over the past couple of years, the appreciation for women's sports over the past couple of years has skyrocketed. It has skyrocketed. I think you can thank Dawn Staley for that. I think you can thank Chino Auriemma for that. I think you can thank Kim Mulkey for that. But I think you can thank the athletes for that as well. You can thank Angel Reese, who does not give a single bleep what you think about her. You can thank Haley Van Lith. You can thank Caitlin Clark. You can thank Asia. You can thank Aaliyah. You can thank all these great players that have come through South Carolina the past couple of years. The visibility, and not just basketball. I'm talking Olivia Dunn down in gymnastics down in Baton Rouge. Right now, over the past couple of weeks, couple of months, I have been getting emails about Clemson gymnastics and how good they are. I had a dear friend of mine and friend of the show, our friend Susan, the other day, wrote me and she's like, are you coming down to cover any Clemson gymnastics? And it's the first time in my career that I'm like, I think there's a demand for it. LSU and Alabama, for instance, right now, when they hold gymnastics meets, they are selling out their basketball gym for gymnastics events right now. Women's sports is on the rise. The last couple of years, the Women's College World Series of softball has been on ESPN, like primetime. Like they're putting the College World Series on the women's side on national primetime television. The visibility of women's athletics has never been higher. So here comes Cube, a businessman, and he recognizes that. And he recognizes that, as I have mentioned a number of times this year, Caitlin Clark is the face of college basketball, period. Not women's college, just the face of college basketball right now. Tune into any given basketball highlight show during the week, and Caitlin Clark is who they're going to. So he offers Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in 10 games in his Big Three league. He went on to emphasize, because Lonzo and I were trying to stack 2 and 2 together during the break about, could she do this? Does she have to choose between this and the WNBA? Well, Cube answered that question. He said that if Clark took this contract, not only would she become the highest paid women's basketball player ever in history, but that she would still be able to play in the WNBA. And then he made a really good point. He said, America's women athletes should not be forced to spend their off seasons playing in often dismal and dubious foreign countries just to make ends meet. And they should have more than just one professional option in the U.S. at a time when American pro sports leagues are being infiltrated by autocratic anti-women regimes such as Qatar. Our path-breaking offer to Caitlin Clark demonstrates that Big Three now offers another choice for athletes, end quote. Now, Cube did not go down a direct path with anybody, but obviously we know about what's happened with Brittany Griner in Russia, regardless of how you feel about her and her politics. That was a crap situation, okay? We know that there are female athletes that are going to play in places like Turkey and Qatar. These are places that, they have these leagues, but it's not exactly great to be, a woman in public. And Cube's going, look, it might not be traditional 5-on-5 basketball, but it is a league that's got eyeballs. It's a league that has grown enough that they are putting it into, maybe not directly into NBA arenas, but Bridgestone, the Garden is an NBA arena. Bridgestone's a hockey arena. The arena in, what was the other one they mentioned? There were like 2 or 3 NHL arenas in there, right? I mean, they've got some visibility and viability here. And if she can do both, I think she's got to take the money.
This is a win-win for
everybody,
for everyone. And you rarely see that sort of thing where everyone wins. He's going to make more money. There's also more because of visibility for his league, but at the same time, he is setting himself up as a feeder league for the WNBA, which will get the WNBA more viewership. So it works out for everybody, but a lot of it hinges on what she decides to do.
Yeah, and before anybody goes, well, Rob, like they can't offer everybody $5 million. No, of course they can't offer everybody $5 million. But Caitlin Clark playing in this league,
but they could if the league grew enough with enough sponsorship and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Eventually, they could.
Exactly where I'm going. Caitlin Clark playing in this league increases their visibility 1,000 times and 1,000 times again. no matter where she goes, the WNBA, any given team, the big three, then the WNBA, just the big three, wherever Caitlin Clark goes, attention's going to follow her. And I feel the same way about Angel Reese. Wherever she goes, attention is going to follow her. So if Caitlin Clark goes to this league and then all of a sudden T-Mobile decides, yo, we want in. We want in. We've already sponsored Lonzo on the stream. We need like the same number of eyeballs from sports as Lonzo gets on the stream. Let's go with Caitlin Clark. And since she's over in this league, let's become the presenting sponsor of the big three. And let's get our logo on signs alongside Caitlin Clark's face everywhere. And now they get an influx of $20 million from T-Mobile. And then not only does T-Mobile get their signature, their logo next to Caitlin Clark's face every time the big three's on TV, but now the big three can go, all right, we got $20 million in here. Hey, Angel Reese, we'll give you $5 million as well to come play this season. Because my goodness, what would be more attention grabbing for that than coming up this Saturday live from the TD Garden in Boston? One more time, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. It's the Big Three Championship presented by T-Mobile. I'm in. I'm automatically in. And now all of a sudden, they get eyeballs from that. They get a couple more big sponsors. Now they can start offering, like I said, the Haley Van Liss of the world, the Camila Cardosos of the world. And if those players can come in, play a 10-game tune-up. No, it's not 5-on-5 basketball the way the WNBA is, but it is basketball. And at its core, whether you're playing 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, full court, half court, whatever, it's still basketball. The fundamentals are still the same game. So I think this is great. I think you nailed it, Lonzo. I think top to bottom, left to right, this is wins all around. It's a win for Caitlin Clark. She gets $5 million. Forget the basketball side. She gets $5 million. $5 million into the bank. And oh, by the way, she gets 10 more games. She gets some time to play with an elevated level of competition before she moves to the WNBA. She's a millionaire before she does. She gets to probably elevate that league and that game up to create more opportunities for more women coming out of college, the ones that aren't going to go to the WNBA. Cube may make room for them because down the line, can't you see them going from 5 teams to 10, 10 to 20, going from 10 games to 20? I mean, yeah, it's like the possibilities are right there for everybody to be elevated. So I started this does Caitlin Clark have some obligation to go to the NBA as the biggest women's basketball star since Diana Taurasi? Since not Becky Hammon, that was even longer ago than Diana Taurasi. Since whoever, does she have some level of responsibility to play in the WNBA and to utilize her star power to elevate that league to where hopefully one day it is not sustained by the NBA. It is a league that can carry its own water, carry its own weight. Does she have some responsibility to help advance the WNBA so that it doesn't require the supplemental income it gets from the NBA to survive? But if Cube is going to set this thing up in a way that Caitlin Clark can do both, Lonzo's right on. It's dubs all around. It's dubs all around. Let's get to some texts that you guys have sent in so far. Texter said, I mean, with that kind of money, guys, isn't it the big free allowing her to play in the WNBA and not the other way around? Yeah, I mean, listen, $5 million for 10 games when the most she's going to make for a full season of basketball is like $500,000 in the WNBA. It almost feels like the WNBA becomes a side project. It almost feels like she plays in the WNBA to keep her fresh for the big three. But again, and I could be wrong, because there could be a shift in the way that we look at basketball. But I think 5-on-5 basketball has been basketball for so long. I don't think that that's sustainable if Caitlin Clark doesn't bring eyeballs over to the big three. So that's interesting. But I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. $5 million for 10 games. As I've said right now, I hate the Live Tour. They call me right now and they offer me $5 million to come cover 20 events. I'll see y'all when I see y'all, right? Texas said women's sports are gaining ground because regardless of the sport, they are more fundamentally sound and played in a more pure form than men's sports these days. That's from Joey. Look, this is what I tell people all the time because I appreciate and enjoy women's basketball. I am locked in to the women's tournament just as much as I am the men's. We mention it around here, obviously, because South Carolina was a betting odds-on minus money favorite going into this tournament, and that's a local school. But this is what I tell people all the time. It's the same game played a different way. It's the same game played a different way. It's the exact same game played a different way. And if you tune in expecting to see the high flyers and the dunks, you're not going to see it. Of course you're not going to see it. Of course it is a different level of physicality. Even Liberov, the woke warrior, can admit that. It's a different level of physicality. But that also requires the women to be much more sound in their execution of basketball. They've got to be much more sound and crisp in their execution of basketball. To me, it makes it a cleaner game. It's not as hectic. It's a cleaner game. And I appreciate that. It's the same game played a different way. You can't go into it expecting to see men's basketball played by women. It's a different game, but it's just as good of a game. Texas said Caitlin Clark should go to the WNBA. She can get more publicity and sponsorships. She can grow her brand. That's also not wrong. The WNBA today has more visibility than the big three, for sure. You know, I know that because I forgot the big three existed until last night when I read this story. Until last night when I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's a thing. But here's the thing. Caitlin Clark has reached the level of, I hate this term. I don't know if it's even appropriate here. You know what? I'm not going to use the term influencer. Caitlin Clark is not an influencer. Caitlin Clark's a superstar. She is a megastar. Caitlin Clark raises the visibility. Yeah.
Sorry. It's
perfect.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark raises the visibility of whatever she does. She raises the visibility of Iowa Hawkeye basketball. She raises the visibility of Big Ten basketball. She raises the visibility of women's college basketball. If she goes to the big three will get more ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, Yahoo Sports coverage in one game than they've gotten in their entire existence. I guarantee that. If Caitlin Clark plays in the big three will get on day one. The first appearance of Caitlin Clark in the big three will get more eyeballs on that product than the entire existence of that league to date, men's or women's side. That's the level of megastar that she is right now. So her brand is going to be fine wherever she goes. It is not her brand that I worry about. The brand I worry about is women's basketball. Will Caitlin Clark best serve women's basketball in the big three? And more importantly, does Caitlin Clark have any responsibility to serve women's basketball at all? Women's basketball has been elevated to its highest level of visibility in years, partially because of Caitlin Clark. But Caitlin Clark is not the megastar and very soon to be, if she's not already, millionaire that she can and will be without women's basketball. So does she have some level of responsibility to give back to the game, to go to the biggest league in the country? Or is it fair for her to just go play in the big three, take her $5 million and move on from there? Her brand is going to be fine wherever she goes. The question is, should Caitlin Clark serve? Does she have a responsibility to serve women's basketball? And if so, what's the best way for her to do it? Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, got a few more stories I want to run through to end this hour of the show, including NFL talk, Rashad Beard joins us in an hour. Fight Club at 9:20. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Real sports talk, real
all right, guys,
sports
we're going to step away
fans.
for 30 seconds. Y'all stay right
Is
there.
the sports voice
or condo and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. I-85 around Pelham Road is already a mess this morning. There's a crash southbound 85, Malden Road, mile marker 46, and they're doing construction in full force northbound 85. This is affecting 85 in both.
Sue the league. Let the league sue them back. They are going to sit on their hands and not do a damn thing. Which kind of feels like how they've operated football-wise over the past decade and a half, right? They're going to let Clemson and Florida State do all the heavy lifting while they sit back, see how things go, and then swoop in at the last minute and say, hey, look, we're with you. It's a brilliant strategy. You don't have to spend the money in legal fees. It makes them look scared.
Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
Turn on, leave on. Afternoons 3 to 7 on the Fan Upstate. From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
The Fan. Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
You're going to ignore the rugby player that Kansas City is signing? Yeah, I mean.
At 71307. Keyword fan.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show, only on the Fan.
Upstate.
To the people on the stream, I will wear stuff that's free. I mean, I got this free.
So somebody bring a free Michigan jersey to this.
Except for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
somebody bring a free Raiders jersey to the station.
Raiders don't mean. I mean, I look good in black.
You busted up the Raiders the other day.
I would still wear a Raiders jersey probably.
That's fair.
I mean, they're still going. Well, I can't say anything after what they did to the Chiefs on Christmas, but we know who won the Super Bowl, so you know.
That's all that matters.
No, Steven, I'm not wearing a Clemson jersey again. I lost a bet and I wore it. You know, I dressed for opening day today. This is the only baseball jersey I have. Well, it's the only one that fits, and Rob did not. So I remembered, and I knew that I wouldn't be talking very much, but at least when people tuned in, they would see it's opening day because of what I was wearing. So I was finding another way to participate. Because I'm not just going to talk about baseball when I'm not into baseball, and Rob is extremely into baseball, and so I want people to see, because we're also a visual medium.
My loins have been tingling.
Again, after I'm talking about how I look, you played it again. I'm starting to think that's not coincidence.
How do we feel about the NFL deciding to play on Wednesday games? From 1948 through last season, there had been only 2 Wednesday games in NFL history. In 2012, the NFL moved the Cowboys-Giants season opening game from a Thursday to a Wednesday due to the Democratic National Convention. And in 2020, Baltimore v. Pittsburgh was played on a Wednesday due to COVID-19 complications. This year, we are going to double the number of Wednesday games as we play 2 Wednesday games on Christmas. It's very interesting. The NFL, I don't know if they are I don't know if this is a once-off, because the NFL succeeded on Christmas last year when it fell in line with the regular schedule. They played some games. Those games were well attended and well viewed on television. Or if the NFL is doing what they ordinarily do, with rare exception, which is when they decide to make a change, they do it slowly and incrementally, because it's the old frog on the stovetop metaphor.
All right, despite what college football fans think, the NFL rules the sports world. If they're on every day of the week, you know what people are doing? They're watching every day of the week. I don't have a problem with them being on Christmas, because I'll be watching them on Christmas.
So that we're clear, I'm not worried about Christmas.
Which happens to fall on
Right.
Wednesday.
I'm not worried about Christmas.
So if I've got NFL football now on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, I'm good with it.
So that's my question. I'm not worried about them playing games on Christmas. I don't care. If Christmas falls on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, play them on Christmas.
And
I'm good with it.
oversaturation can't happen with the NFL. I just don't think it's possible. You can't see too much of that product.
The only thing that I am looking at, and this is the direction my brain took it yesterday, the NFL slowly adding games to Wednesdays. Is that a sign that down the line, Wednesdays could become an NFL day for us, for America, for the fans? And that word oversaturation, I'm glad you brought it up, because that is kind of a direction I wanted to go with this. Is there an oversaturation limit for the NFL? Is there a limit where if they are playing playing football 4 days a week, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is that our limit? If they add Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is that too much? If they go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, is that too much? Is there an oversaturation limit? Because here's the reality. Rob Brown, as it stands during football season, is very fortunate that I can look my gorgeous fiance in the face and go, sorry, babe, I know it's Thursday night, but the Dolphins are playing the Chargers tonight. And you know, it's my job. I have to watch. It's not that I want to watch football tonight. It's that I have to watch football tonight. Sorry, that's what I get paid for. But if it gets to a point where there's a Wednesday night game, a Thursday night game, a Friday night game, a Saturday game, a Sunday all-day game, and a Monday night game, we're playing 6 nights a week, there's going to come a point where even my understanding, forgiving, compassionate fiance is going to go, dude, really? And I think all of us have to have a line somewhere where we go, I can't pay attention to this much NFL football and also live my life. I can't. I can't have football on 6 nights a week for 4 months. I just can't do it. But here's the other thought that I had. The other thought that I had was in terms of teams. Because I can promise you, the teams that play on a Thursday night and then turn around and 6 days later play on a Wednesday, unless they catch the bye the next week, that's a lot of football. That's a very short turnaround time. That's a lot of football, which leads me to this. You know how you fix that problem, aside from having to go deep into the schedule manipulation? More teams. You add more teams. You add 4 teams. You add 8 more teams. You add 1 more division to both sides of the equation. You go more teams. You add a team in London. You add a team in Mexico City.
That is oversaturation if you add more teams.
I think you're oversaturating if you're playing 6 nights a week. Even I can't keep up with 6 nights a week.
I want 7.
It's too much.
7 NFL.
It's too much. I can't
It also depends on where they're available. I mean, make them available
tell.
on networks that I already have.
I can't tell my lady, as much as she is fine with my job and likes that I love my job, I can't tell her that from September to February, I have no nights off from football. I can't do it. All right, we'll talk more about this. We got to run to a break. It's time for a Sports Flash.
Yeah, that counts. Yeah, it counts. You cut yourself off. You absolutely did. The Clemson Tigers basketball team takes to the hardwood tonight in a Sweet 16 matchup against the number 2 seeded Arizona Wildcats. The Tigers haven't made the Elite Eight since 1980, but to break that streak, we'll have to find a way to stop Caleb Love, Pele Larson, and Umar Balo, all averaging 13 points per game or more. Clemson enters as a 7.5-point underdog. The Panthers pass rush got better yesterday as former South Carolina Gamecock Jadeveon Clowney signed a 2-year $20 million contract with $4 million in incentives. Clowney had 9.5 sacks last year. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a lot of fun. Wire to Wire.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. If you are traveling northbound 85 this morning and you will want to jump off at 185.
And yes, my troll backfired, okay? I took the baseball jersey off.
Sometimes a standstill all the way up to Pelham.
I never intended to wear it the whole time anyway. I was trolling Rob, and he turned it on me, which is, good job. If Moles can tell him he was successful, go for it. And so I took it off.
SC Comic-Con is back and bigger than ever, April 6th and 7th at the Greenville Convention Center, featuring artists and stars like William Shatner, Captain Kirk, Jim Lee from X-Men and Batman, Kate Flannery from The Office, Power Rangers, wrestlers, anime stars, and more. Tons of vendors with thousands of comics, games, and toys.
Also, there's the point, and I think it's Steven that I need to blame, or whoever, about the free advertising. That's a good point, so I needed to take it off because can't be giving out free advertising. That's not how radio works. When you guys point things like that out, I probably am going to get in trouble for that, even though it was just, a jersey that was given to me free. So if you wanted to get me in trouble, take pleasure in the fact that you probably got me in trouble. But since I live there in trouble land, I should be okay. I don't know. So hope you're happy. Guys are just a bunch of troublemakers. That's all. It's a bunch of troublemakers.
Sad Lonzo noises.
Watch out for revenuers, Steven. I hear they don't come down from Rocky Top. Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top either. Thank you, Nolan. I appreciate it.
Oh, Rocky Top, you will always be
but again,
2 in the SEC.
The shirt was just to troll Rob. Rob turned it on me, and so he won. So I took it off. I mean, you know.
I almost clicked yes right there.
When you lose, you lose. You take the L, you move on. My percentage of wins is pretty high. I take this one. And the shirt was restrictive and starting to get really warm. But it's more about the point that we're giving free advertising. I can't do that. I could care less if Rob wins or loses. Free ads, we just can't be doing that. I should have thought that out better. Unless, of course, you are a T-Mobile representative and you see the ad space that you just got and you're willing to advertise on this station exclusively with me. Not Rob, but me. Give our reps a call. Rob won't, but I will work for merch.
I'm excited because in a couple of weeks, we have a new endorsement coming in from a fantasy draft gambling site. And I get it's literally money where my mouth is because my endorsement fee for that is paid into the account on that website, and I have to play it. So whatever I win is my talent fee. So they're going to give me like X amount of $100 a week to play with, and any dollar I win off of that, I get to keep. Anything I don't win.
So you got an insane.
I have to gamble for my fee, and I'm good with it.
Incentive-laden contract.
Yeah, I have to gamble for my fee. That's part of what they want me to do is talk about the picks that I'm making and whatnot for that week. So I have to gamble for my money. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, we'll see if it affects how you actually gamble, though.
Oh, 100%. Dude, listen. Money on the line changes how you approach stuff for sure. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The third hour of the Rob Brown Radio Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the Great Alonzo on the ones and twos this AM. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making us a part of your day.
Get on the stream. Everyone there is mean.
What do you mean mean? I think they're just having a good time.
Everyone there is mean.
Sad Lonzo noises. Womp, 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 womp. Where's that sound? There it is. There it is. What a day. What a day. What a day.
I
What a day.
am not Debbie Downer. I am not.
That's what that is from. I mean, that's not what it's from. That's like a classic.
Yeah, they use that on
Foley sound, but like she made it infamous.
Thank you, Shane. I am beautiful.
I'm excited, says Nathan Green. I'm excited because the NBA season is almost over and I don't have to see Charlotte lose anymore until football season. Any more matches you see being added to WrestleMania? Well, if only, Lonzo, there was a time during the show specifically cut out to talk about wrestling.
Professional wrestling is cool.
Yeah, I got about 57 stories to get to today in the Fight Club.
Fight Club! Coming up in just a tick over an hour from right now. Lonzo will guide us through the world of mixed martial arts, professional boxing, and also whatever Jake Paul is, and professional wrestling.
What's up? What's up, man?
Looking forward to that. We got Rashad Beard joining us here in about 35 minutes from now to talk Carolina football as Jadeveon Clowney is now a member of your Carolina Panthers, which is good, I think. A couple of texts that have come in so far. One says, excuse my French, but the NFL continues to say you to the NBA. I have news for you. All of the years gone by where the NBA has had a monopoly.
Daggum monopoly.
I blew it. All of the years where the NBA has had a monopoly on Christmas games have been, I think, solely because for years the NFL, they didn't do it out of deference to the NBA. They didn't do it out of any sort of history or tradition or whatever else.
You mean all the Major League Sports commissioners don't get together at some place like in Tahoe and, go over things?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't. I think the NFL has done it for years because they just frankly assumed nobody's going to watch it. People put basketball on in the background. Nobody's going to watch NFL football. It's Christmas. And then Christmas happened to fall on an NFL date, and they were like, yeah, YOLO, screw it. Let's see what happens. They went, YOLO, screw it. Let's see what happens. And it turns out we, as Lonzo aptly said in the last segment, we'll watch football anytime it's on TV.
Did you watch the NFL on Christmas?
I absolutely did.
So did I.
I absolutely did.
If it wasn't my job and I was just a casual fan or just a fan in general, I still would have watched it on Christmas.
Absolutely and entirely.
Because they had some good games.
So I think basically the NFL went, we can make money. We can make money playing on Christmas Day. So let's do that. Texter said, as long as the NFL takes 6 months from a game standpoint off, I don't think there will be an oversaturation issue. That's from UNC Chris. Chris, appreciate that text. And good luck to your Heels against the Crimson Tide. Roll Tide. Coming up in the Sweet 16, we're going to talk Sweet 16 basketball, as a matter of fact, coming up in the very next segment of the radio program. So stay right there.
Is this going to be a baseball-free hour?
I have not decided. Probably, honestly.
Ooh.
Which I despise. I hate it. It's opening day. But it's not all we should talk about because the two Sweet 16.
Your team is not playing on opening day. So, I mean,
yes, but there are 26 other teams that are.
I mean, I realize you've got another job where you have to cover that sort of thing.
I also do that. As Bet for the Cycle returns to its roots on Saturday. For the past 4 months, it's been 80% sports, 20% baseball. Starting this Saturday, it flips back around. 80% baseball, 20% everything else. Looking forward to it. So, as far as the oversaturation issue goes, I meant to say my primary point earlier in the last segment, so I'll jump into it now. Part of this to me, and I could be overthinking it, as Alonzo pointed out to Cole Bryson yesterday, Rob Brown does have a history of overthinking everything. Like it just like everything. Okay. So the thought I had was this, because when I read this story last night, there was actually a column out on yahoosports.com. I'll have to beg your forgiveness because I do not recall off the top of my head who it was that wrote it for yahoosports.com. It was not friend of the show, Jay Busby. Whoever wrote it said football, the National Football League, deciding to play games on a Wednesday, even if it is Christmas, is a step down a road that they did not want to see the NFL go down. He was the one that said in his column something that I had already had the thought, which is the NFL's not dumb. The NFL realizes a basic tenet of human psychology. We, by and large, not exclusively, but human beings as a whole, don't take well to change. We like our routines. We like our little comfort zones. That is why one of the pieces of advice you get anytime you want to do anything to improve yourself, what's the first thing every self-help guru says to you? You, young man, young lady, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You got to force yourself to be uncomfortable. Why? Because we get comfortable, and when we're comfortable, it doesn't challenge us. We are pattern-seeking animals. We are evolved that way. And so the NFL understands a basic tenet of human psychology, which is if you are going to change something, you do it in little incremental things. And those little incremental things eventually stack up to be the big change. If you are doing it in a self-help way, if you are doing it in a sports way, if you want to be a better basketball player, you don't go out and change your whole game. You go into the gym and you say, here's what I'm going to work on today. If you want to learn how to be, for instance, a more self-disciplined person, you don't wake up one day and change your entire life. You start making little incremental changes, because it's one thing to say, I got to change everything about my whole damn life. That's challenging. That's terrifying, frankly, to most of us. But what you can do is go, you know what I'm going to change this week? What I'm going to change this week is I'm going to change, I'm going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier every day this week. 30 minutes early. That's it. I'm not having to drop things out of my life. I'm not asking for anything, but I'm just going to change. I'm going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. I started a new diet not terribly long ago. Do you know what the first thing the nutritionist said? He said, look, here's the deal. I'm not asking you to go from pizza to salad with no dressing overnight. I'm saying what I want you to do is when you eat pizza, one of the things I'm going through right now is I am writing down everything that I'm eating. And that way, at the end of the day, I am forced to stare into the face of everything that I ate that day. Because for me, it's very easy to pop into a gas station and grab myself a Reese's Fast Break bar. They're delightful. They're also like 400 calories, right? Which, if I'm having a busy day, I don't even think about. But then when I get to the end of the day and I look down and I go, bro, you have 1,600 calories to eat a day and you spent a quarter of them on one candy bar. Was it really that good? That's how I'm changing, because now I look at it and when I see that bar, I'm like, I really want that. But now I remember with that time 2 nights ago where I had one and I went, I burned a quarter of my calories in one candy bar. I'd rather save that for dinner and add a little more to the plate for din-din. That's how you change things. That's how the NFL is changing things. So the question mark here is the NFL utilizing the excuse that Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year in order to further test out Wednesday games? Is this the NFL looking and going, yeah, I think we could add another night of games to the calendar? And maybe they treat it like Thursday Night Football, where on Wednesdays they only have one game. Maybe they treat it in a way that they go, okay, we got to have multiple teams play on Wednesdays because we're going to have to move the schedule around. Those teams are going to have to also play the Thursday night before. But here's the thing. You don't want to put the same 4 teams on a Thursday night one week and a Wednesday night the next, just alternating it. But you don't want to do that.
Is it a possibility that this has nothing to do with Wednesday and just has to do with Christmas?
Sure.
And any day that Christmas is on, so there's no leap year next year. So next year Christmas will be on Thursday, right? Which they already have NFL on Thursday. So that unless they have a game on Wednesday, like on Christmas Eve, then we'll see.
Sure. 100%. Doesn't stop me from speculating.
A lot of people are speculating. I just think this has to do with Christmas. I don't think it has to do with Wednesday. If they put games on Wednesday, I will watch, but I don't think they're going to.
There was a point in time years ago where there weren't Thursday night games. And
how long ago was that?
I don't remember. I don't know. When did Thursday Night Football start back up? There was a point in time where there weren't Thursday night games. And then they ran a Thursday night game and they were like, it's just a scheduling thing. And then some more Thursday night games. And then eventually Thursday Night Football became a thing.
According to the internet, it was 2006.
So there you go. I didn't say it was recent. I just said it was a while back.
So it's been nearly 2 decades. And yeah, so it's been a long time.
I don't disagree.
And in that time, they haven't added another day.
Right. But my thought here is the only day they could add, in my opinion, scratch that. The only 2 days available to add are Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday
yeah.
and Wednesday.
I mean, they play on Saturdays during the playoffs, but they're probably not going to do that during the regular season because of college football.
Dude, when college football ends, we have Saturday games. The last
That's what I'm saying.
Season.
They may disrespect the NBA, but they're not going to disrespect their feeder system where their players come from, college football.
Why?
Because they're just not.
What's college football going to do? You guys aren't allowed to go to the NFL anymore.
Mutual respect, Rob.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. Remember, that was the reason they didn't play Christmas Day games, was mutual respect for the NBA.
No. I just pointed out, it's screw the NBA, but college football is more important to the NFL than the NBA is.
It is important to the NFL for sure. It is not, we're going to sacrifice millions or billions of dollars to you, important to the NFL. It's not like if you play NCAA football, they can bar you from going to the NFL. No, if the NFL down the road does Tuesday or Wednesday, and they decide that it works and they're going to move that, don't be shocked if a couple of years from now they're like, well, we got 1 day left. Might as well go 7 for 7 any given week, right?
They're not going to go Tuesday because that's Maction night, isn't it?
I mean, during the college football season.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that the NFL is very worried about upsetting the fans of the MAC conference.
You can't mess with Maction, man.
Look, I love me
It's
some
about
MAC.
to be like the only conference left here pretty soon that's not the Big Ten or the SEC.
I mean, the Pac-12's, the Big 12 is fighting for its life right now. The EEC is fighting for its life right now. Anyway, I will say very simply, the NFL is not dumb. The NFL understands that if you're going to make a change, you make small incremental changes. It is the old frog in the boiling pot metaphor. If you boil water and throw a frog in it, that frog's going to jump right back up because that frog goes, oh, this is hot. I don't like it. If you throw a frog in a pot of water, it will stay in there because it's a frog, and then you slowly and incrementally turn up the heat. And if you change it by a degree, the frog doesn't notice, and then another degree, and the frog doesn't notice, and another degree, the frog doesn't notice, and then eventually the water's boiling, and the frog never caught on until it was too late.
Why did that frog sound like Bobby Boucher? Can you explain that?
Because when you think somebody that boiled a frog, who you think about?
Okay.
You think about my people.
Do you?
Hell yeah, you think about my people. The French and the Cajuns.
Do they boil frogs?
Bro, I have been bullfrog gigging. Yeah, you boil a frog.
Okay.
You can boil a frog, you can fry a frog.
Okay, because I've had frog legs before, but they were fried. I didn't realize you could boil a frog.
They are delightful.
Oh, I love the frog legs are really good. But what do you do with a boiled frog?
Same thing you do with everything else you boil.
I mean, what do you serve it with? Or you just put it in a stew, a gumbo or something? Okay.
Yeah. Big frog guy. Big frog guy. So,
I'm just picturing Rob out there gigging frogs.
I've been frog gigging before.
How do you gig?
You get it's like a spear with a trident.
I was gonna say, I'm not questioning it. I want to know how. Okay.
When you go frog gigging, you go out to wherever the bullfrogs are. You got a headlamp on. You got your boots. You got your waders on. You take a long pole that's got a trident spear on the end of it. You hold that thing like King Triton himself. You walk through, you shine the light back and forth. You'll eventually see the frog eyes shining at you. Once you get them looking at that light, that they freeze up. They're like a deer in the headlights. They freeze up and they just stare at you. Once you get them, you got to get that spear out and around them a little bit. Pa-pow, you bring it down. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get them in the chest. You won't get them in the leg because you stab them in the leg.
Then the legs not any good anymore.
The legs.
Yeah. Okay.
So you got to stab them up in the heart, up in the chest, up in the body. And you bring that up. You got your little satchel over on the side you toting around. You take that frog, you dump them down in there.
Is there any size frog after you gig them that you look and go, this doesn't have enough meat on it?
No, you only get the big frog. You just got to find a big frog. You get the big frog. You grab you a couple of frogs. You take them on back to the house.
Is that a
you clean them legs off?
Is that a gig bag that you put them in? What's the bag called?
I mean, you could call it a gig. It's just a tote bag.
A tote bag? Okay.
I mean, it ain't got to be no specific kind of bag. You could use your Walmart bag.
A tote bag can mean something totally different. So I think gig bag probably works better.
You can use whatever.
Would you use a Walmart bag would make noise though, right? Do you have to be quiet to get up on the frogs?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I mean it's not. You don't want to go stomping around in the woods like you crazy. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to go bananas.
Yeah, because you don't look crazy and your waders out there with a trident trying to catch frogs.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
You gotta be kind of quiet when you're stomping around. But I mean, he ain't gonna be silent. But it's more about the visual. You got to see that frog from a distance. You got to get
so
up
the
around
frog looks at you and goes, "Man, that human looks stupid," and then you got him.
Bang.
Okay, all right.
Put that frog down in the bag. Take him home. Skin him legs off. Roll them around in a little flour, little egg bath, little seasoning. You put some breadcrumbs on there if you want. A little Cajun seasoning. Throw them in a pot.
We should roll down the road to Saskatoon and get some frog legs after the
Somebody
show.
got frog legs?
Saskatoon has all kinds of
I'll take
stuff.
some frog legs. I'll take some frog legs for sure. All right, that's dumb. I'm sorry that I did all of that. And now I want frog legs. Point here is
I didn't think it was dumb. I learned a lot of stuff. And, fishing is considered a sport, so probably frog gigging would be also.
I'll tell you right now, frog gigging ain't easy. I must have been like 18 last time I went frog gigging. Just a naive young little cherub I was. Point is here, yes, I do think the NFL long-term will absolutely consider adding another weekday of games, but I also think it makes it right for expansion because just the scheduling difficulty that comes with that. I think if you're going to have a team play on a Tuesday, you've got to have them coming. Honestly, if they play on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, does that kind of ruin the bye if they have the bye the week before? Right? Like you're on a bye this week, but you play next Wednesday. Is that really a bye anymore? I don't think it is. There's going to be some scheduling difficulties that by the way, the Players Association is going to hate this, just so we're clear. The NFL will not get this one.
But they'll do this thing where they'll offer more money and they'll go, okay.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's a big ask. And it's not like they're going to offer an extra $1 million to everybody. So if you go, all right, you get the bye the week before. All right, so now you're bye on Sunday, but then you got to play 3 nights later, and then you got to turn around and play the Sunday after that. If you get the bye the week after that, you play Sunday, then you play Wednesday, then you're off for a full week and a half, but it's not even the full 2 weeks you get from a bye. You're not getting a full 2 weeks anymore. So I don't know that you can connect a Tuesday or a Wednesday game to a bye. I don't know how you schedule it with the exception of adding more teams.
By the way, Saskatoon doesn't appear to have frog legs, but I did look up the best frog leg restaurants in the Greenville area, and there appears to be quite a few.
I'm down to go get some frog legs,
including some Cajun seafood bars.
I am down to go get some frog legs for sure. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, it has been since 1980. Your boy was not even yet a glimmer in his father's eye the last time that the Clemson Tigers made a visit to the Elite Eight. In order to do it tonight, they will need to get by Caleb Love and the number 2 seed Arizona Wildcats and become a team that keeps the Pac-12 out of the Elite Eight in their final season. Can Clemson do it? What does Clemson need to do if they're going to do it? I will answer all those questions when we come back. Then in about 20 minutes, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast stops by to talk a little bit about the signing of one Jadeveon Clowney. Say all about that more when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live reading. We're coming right back. Y'all stay right there. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. Clemson takes on Arizona tonight in the Sweet 16 with a trip to the Elite Eight on the line. It has been since 1980 since the last time that Los Tigres found their way into the into the Elite Eight. Your boy was not even a glimmer in his old man's eye when that happened.
I wasn't even a teenager yet.
You may meow all you wish over there, great one, but there is yeah, I don't know if you know this. They got bounced in round one.
I literally pushed the wrong button.
Oh, okay.
They're right next to each other.
I was like, this is I think even the Carolina fans know, not a great time to talk crap.
Definitely
if you're a South Carolina fan.
Well, yeah, there is, because the women play tomorrow night. I think at 5 o'clock.
We've already talked about the women's tournament. We're talking about the men's tournament.
There we go. I found it again.
In the men's tournament, South Carolina is not in a great.
I think I'm getting palsy or something. The hands are shaking and just
In the bracket, which is very chalky for the Sweet 16, not a lot of Cinderella still dancing. Clemson might be, alongside NC State, both out of the ACC, the two most glass slipper wearingest that are still there. The Tigers upset number 3 Baylor to advance to the second week and take on Arizona. They were dogs, were the Tigers, in both of their first 2 games. They were a dog against New Mexico, which I said on this show and this station, I did not understand at all why they were dogs to New Mexico. I mean, it's a good New Mexico team, but it wasn't like, Arizona. Then they opened as dogs to the Baylor Bears. That one was a little more understandable. I got that one. They won both. However, they are the doggiest dogs they have been so far when they go in as 7.5-point underdogs against the Arizona Wildcats. The Tigers, let's call it what it is, have leaned on their defense to get to the Sweet 16. They held an explosive Baylor offense to only 64 points on 39% shooting. They gave up only 56 on 30% shooting to New Mexico. They have one of the stingiest remaining defenses in the Sweet 16. And it is a Sweet 16 that is rife with good defenses. Iowa State is one of the best defenses in the country. Houston is one of the best defenses in the country. UConn is one of the best defenses in the country. Clemson is in that conversation. So what does Clemson need to do this evening in order to slip by Arizona and make their way to the Elite Eight for the first time in a lot of years?
Get PJ under control. That's what they need to do. No stupid fouls. Get out there, play the game like you should be playing. Don't use the excuse, the coach put pressure on him and then he couldn't handle the pressure and now the coach is going to have to back off a little bit and that's why he played poorly in the second half. I don't know if you've heard those stories, but I have. You got to get PJ under control and then you should be all right. I know he's not the leading scorer, but he's still the leader of the team.
You are close to correct. You were close to correct. PJ Hall is going to have to adapt in this game. But as much as PJ Hall is going to adapt, the guards are going to have to help him out.
So I'm correct, but there's more to it. That's not close to correct. That's correct, but you need to add a little more to it.
That's close to correct.
It's not, no.
It is.
Okay, fine.
It is close to correct because I do think there is a part of it that does fall on PJ Hall. I think one of the adaptations that you are going to have to ask of PJ Hall is, listen, my guy, if one of their guards gets to the elbow, gets to the free throw line, gets to the short corner and goes to lift a J, you just got to let him. I don't need you contesting any shots that are further out than, say, 7 feet. If somebody takes a jumper that is 7 feet or further away from the basket, let them take the jumper. I don't need you getting fouls in those spots. I need you to play more than 19 out of 40 minutes tonight.
Also, don't flat out offensive block someone and then look surprised that you get called for a foul. Don't do that.
I mean, you look surprised. It is what it is. It's an emotional game. I just need you to be real smart about where your fouls are getting utilized. I'm not even saying don't foul. I'm saying be smart about when and where you use those fouls. Because if you are fouling a jump shooting point guard 12 feet away from the basket, that foul does not help us. But in order to ask that of PJ Hall, I have to tell my guards, I need you guys not letting them get those mid-range jumpers off where PJ Hall is the last line of defense. I need you not to get in a spot where PJ Hall is having to step out from underneath the rim in order to make something happen. I need you to create a defensive shell around PJ Hall where the only thing I am asking of him is keep the big guys underneath locked down. That's it. That's what I need. I need a shell built around PJ Hall. I need a shell that lets him play under the basket, in the paint, and nowhere else. I don't need him more than 7 feet in any direction. I need him in the paint. I need him no more than 2 steps off the block on either side. I need him no further than the free throw line if he's defending north to south. That's it. That's what I need. Then what I need my guards to take smart threes. There was a point in that game against Baylor. In fact, I tweeted out as Lonzo called me out on Monday for it, where I tweeted out, Clemson is going to do their best to give this game away. That was in direct response to, and I can remember it very clearly, direct response to a moment where Joe Girard took a ball on a handoff, drove to the right-hand side, 2 defenders rolled with him. It left, I want to say, I don't remember who I think it was Hunter. I don't remember who the other guard was. Left them alone. They both defenders went out to cover Shefflin, who moved to the left side. The guard ran a roll down into the paint, and Shefflin lifted a 3. Defended by 2 players, lifted a 3 from like 4 feet outside the 3-point line. I can't have that. Smart shots, smart shots, smart shots. I need you shooting threes. You have lived on the 3. You have thrived on the 3-point look. Clemson ranks 25th and 16th in the country in points per play in the offensive flip of 3-point metrics. I need you taking threes, but I need you taking smart threes. I don't need you lifting threes just because you think you need a 3 here. If you need a 3 here, run the set to get the 3. Don't force the 3. It was Clemson starting to force up J's and force up long-range 3s in the face of double teams and triple teams that made me go, oh, this is where Brownell loses control. He's going to have a team that's going to start taking dramatic shots for no reason. But what did Clemson do? In the final 5 minutes of that game, when Baylor made a storm back to get within 2, I think they took the lead at one point. Clemson just stayed in their set. They did exactly what they did on the road at North Carolina. They stayed in their sets. They ran the offense. They waited for their high percentage shots. And once P.J. Hall was able to check back into the game because he had to go to the bench with 4 fouls, then the offense opened up for and around him. And now all of a sudden, Girard and company are getting clean looks. Shefflin's driving to the rack on offense and on defense to pick up boards. Just play your game. Honestly, I had a couple of experts on yesterday. We had 3 college basketball experts on You Better You Bet yesterday on the BetQL Network. All 3 of them picked Clemson on a money line outright upset to move on to the Elite 8. It is absolutely a game you can win. Absolutely a game you can win. If you play your game, Arizona's going to try to body you. They're going to try to push you around. They're going to try to make stuff happen. Don't let them, and you'll be fine. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us in the next segment. We'll talk about the addition of Jadeveon Clowney. We'll talk about the new look defense, and we'll see if Dan Morgan has earned the laser eyes. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away for just a minute while we get Rashad lined up. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Rashad, what's up, fella?
What's up? What's up?
Feeling, big dog?
I'm good. I'm good.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it, man.
For adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia.
I sent you something on X, and now I have nothing but WWE. Just nothing else for like 12 different posts. There's our friend Arn Anderson.
Friend of the show, Arn Anderson.
Loves them grannies. Supposedly, according to the video, Gorilla Monsoon, when they were doing a thing at a casino, and it's got Bobby Heenan and other stuff, he actually won $11,000 on blackjack.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate, and it's Thursday. You know what we do on Thursdays. At this time, we take a trip right on up the road to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we talk to one half of the Panther Nation podcast. My guy, Rashad Beard, joining us here on the show. What's up, big dog?
What's going on? Exciting times in Carolina. Good things are happening. What do you want to talk about?
I mean, they ain't much. Let's get into it, big dog. Jadeveon Clowney comes down. We had talked a little bit the last few weeks about what potential free agents were still out there. And obviously Jadeveon's name got brought up a couple of times. And I think there was a little bit of optimism. All right, maybe the guy wants to come home. Maybe he wants to play close to Rock Hill. Maybe he wants to play close to Columbia. But at the same time, my man had 9.5 sacks last year. There was going to be some interest. Would he want to come play for a team that, you know, the over-under win total is 4.5? We'll talk about that in a minute. Turns out he did, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think this is something that we needed to happen. You know, obviously with the departure of Brian Burns, left a major gap on the edge. We made some moves. You know, you got DJ Wanham, Clavon Chason, but that was not enough. And I felt like, you know, we had discussions with Jadeveon Clowney. You know, he went to go visit the Jets, was talking with the Ravens. And what I like about the situation, if you read the details regarding what happened and why he chose Carolina, what I like about it is that it was mentioned that, you know, we tried the hardest. Like we really wanted to get him. And we have to try harder. We're underdogs, right? We're a bad team coming off a bad season, and we had to try harder. So we did that. We showed that we wanted him. Obviously, it helps that he is from the Carolinas, and we brought him back home. It's a huge win for Carolina. It's a 2-year deal, right? Because he's used to being, you know, here and there and moving around. He's been around a couple teams, so a little bit of continuity, and allows us to fix the edge long term. Probably get a draft pick and build, and that's what I like about this pick. It's a very, very good pickup. The money is solid. 2-year, $20 million deal, 10 per year. Up to $24 million. So I like it. I like the way it's structured. It's good stuff. I'm excited.
All right, let's take a look at this. You just mentioned these guys. You're talking about Wanham. You're talking about Chason. You're talking about Jadeveon Clowney. In 2024, for all those guys combined, you are paying $19 million. I would be willing right now. I'm a gambler. I'm a sports gambler. If you gave me the over-under on Brian Burns 8.5, if you asked me if these three guys, and I understand that Wanham and Chason, like Wanham can start, Chason probably a project long-term, like he's a guy you're going to have to develop, and then you add Clowney to the mix. If you asked me, will those three combined have over-under 8.5 sacks this year? I'm going to hammer the over on that list, Rashad Beard, and you get it for about $10 million cheaper than if you'd have given Brian Burns the extension that he wanted. Dan Morgan's looking like roses right now, fella.
Yeah, and this is what I've been preaching on my channel. It's what I've been preaching on this show is you got to let it play out. You got a guy that is basically 1/3 the cost of a Brian Burns. I know he's a bit older. It's not the same. It's not necessarily apples to apples, but they're going to be playing edge, right? And he had 9.5 sacks last year on a good defense, good Ravens defense. Jadeveon Clowney did, and so I feel like we got a comparable player, right? it was better against the run for a third of the cost. And I believe that, we talk about sacks. I don't think we're done here. And I think there's a key piece to in making sure we get those sack totals high, right? And that's improving the secondary. If we can finish up and clean sweep the Carolina guys and go out and get a Stephon Gilmore, that really, really is going to help the pass rush. Because even if you say that we took a step back from a pass rush perspective and we improve in the back end on the, in the secondary, I believe that you're going to get more time for the pass rush to get there. And that's just it's just going to work out. And so I feel really, really good about the defense. I feel good about where we're going. And I feel good about Clowney. I feel good about everything. I think a lot of the folks that, were a little perturbed about letting Brian Burns walk, I think they're taking a big sigh of relief right now.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question is, as we wrap up free agency talk, is Gilmore the last big target on the board?
Yeah, I think he's got to be it. I think that, that's when we whiffed on a couple of years ago. He wanted to be here. He wanted to finish his career here, and we whiffed. Scott Fitter and company did not make that happen, and I feel like we're going to get a second shot at it, and I hope that we do. We need it. We need another secondary player, another cornerback opposite of J.C. Horn. And, Gilmore's 33 years old, but he's playing at an extremely high level. So I bring him in here. Still draft a young guy to get coached up by Gilmore. But, yeah, I think he's the last big key target that we're going after.
All right, so now that Clowney's in, there was a debate going on Twitter yesterday that I saw between a couple of different folks. Some folks wanted to go exclusively offensive to help Bryce Young with those 2 picks in the second round. A couple of guys wanting to go exclusively defensive, like you've already started to build a new look defense in Charlotte. Want to add a pass rusher, want to add a secondary guy. A lot of guys that are going split one, get me a wide receiver and a DB, get me an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. Now that Jadeveon Clowney's in there, and let's, for the sake of the conversation, assume that Gilmore gets added, that Clowney convinces him to come down. How has this changed your thoughts on those first 2 picks in the second round?
Yeah, it's tough because you still need to build depth, right? You still need to get a guy, another edge rusher. There's still a wide receiver. If one of those wide receivers is sitting there, you got to take them. So I think you got to wait and see. I think I'm not really dead set on us getting anything, right? I think we've set up our board so that we can literally go best player available. Like, I know that sounds cliche, but I think we can literally do that. The way this roster has been constructed throughout free agency, I think we're not pressed for anything. One would argue if we don't get Stephon Gilmore, corners high on the list. But you take that off the table, like you're saying, I really think we can go BPA. And I think that whether it's a wide receiver, that's probably going to be the best player available because this wide receiver class is so good. I feel like that may be it. Offensive lineman, you can talk about, interior offensive lineman. Listen, there's any way we can go. I think there's a multitude of ways. I'm not sold on us going on any particular way. Offense, defense, just give me the best guys and let's build a good roster. That's all I have to say about that.
Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Did you see the conversation? Dave Canellis was on the NFL Network with Tom Pelissero the other day, and they asked him about Bryce Young. And I loved his answer. I thought his answer was brilliant because he didn't just go in a coach speak. He actually broke down the things he wants to work with Bryce Young on, and the way that he wants to do it, the protocols, the actual footwork and the techniques he wants to teach him. But then he said something that I genuinely loved, and I don't think has been the way it's worked in Carolina, which is we're going to go work with BY. We're going to find out what BY is best at, and then we're going to cater the offense to him. We're going to find what he's best at, and we're going to draw the offense in that direction. I think the last couple of head coaches, Rashad, have been 2 guys who have basically said, we're going to do it my way or you can get the hell out. And I don't think that works in the NFL anymore. So Canellis going, listen, we're going to work on his footwork. We're going to find out, all right, he's a 3-step drop guy. Does he favor a certain tendency or not? And then we're going to cater the offense. We're going to draw the offense so that, man, I know it's peak off-season talk to go this direction, but Canellis is the first coach that looked in a camera, talked like a coach, laid it out there, didn't give anything away, didn't say, we're working on this particular set of plays, but gave you a little bit more than just, we expect our quarterback to work hard and get better. Like, all right, dude, but give me something. I loved it. I don't know if you got a chance to see it.
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm excited about that. I mean, yeah, you've seen what Canellis has done with these other quarterbacks. I mean, you go back to last year with the Bucks, he fixed some things with that offense. You know, he fixed up some things with Baker. Even going back to Seahawks, you know, in Seattle with Geno, he fixed some things with Geno. So I feel like, yes, I mean, the hope is that he goes in and he does the same things with Bryce Young. I really feel like that he's going to try to take a lot of the pressure off of Bryce. There was a lot of pressure on Bryce last year. He had to save everything, right? He had to block for himself almost. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of pressure on Bryce Young. I really feel like Canellis is going to take some of that pressure off of him. We got two big guards that are going to be able to protect. And I think we're going to lean on the run a lot more than we did last year. Kind of go back to what we did under Steve Wilkes and lean on that run game. You got some talented wide receivers. So again, it's taking the pressure off of Bryce Young and having him not have to think about everything. Find out what he does great, do it, and let him just go out there and have fun with it. I think there was a lot of pressure put on Bryce last year to save us, and I think that Canellis hopefully is going to find what Bryce does well and accentuate that. I think that's really, it sounds great. And again, I don't want to get into I don't want to fall into the trap of he's saying all the great things, because we've seen that before. We've seen some great things be said. I'm tired of talking, right? I want to see it. I need to see it. So it sounds great. Everything he said was perfect, but I need to see it. I need to see it. You gotta show me.
Rashad, there is nothing that I enjoy less on Thursdays than when you come in here and say exactly something that Lonzo said the day before, because now I got to hear it for the rest of the day.
Oh, I just need to clear my throat. I forgot my microphone was on. It happens sometimes.
Sure. Listen, I know we're kind of at a point. I mean, it is off season. This is what I got to tell Lonzo all the time. It's off season. We got to talk about something, Rashad. Like, we got to talk about something. I am aware. I agree with you guys that at the end of the day, the only thing we're waiting for next is let's get to rookie camp here in a couple of weeks. Let's see what the new guys look like. Let's get to the draft at the end of April and see where we go. Is there, like, do you have it in you to just let yourself be optimistic for a damn minute, Rashad? Like, for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I would have took the bet of the over on the 4.5 wins. I'm taking that. I feel good about where we are, but also at the same time, I need to see what we're gonna do, right? I'm scarred, right? We've been through a lot the past couple of years. You know what I mean? We've been promised some things. It hasn't gone right, so I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to see us do well. I think we've set up the roster is much better. We're in a much better place so far, and obviously we have one of the big things that we haven't done well the past few years is knock the draft out of the park. We've got to see how this draft goes. So there's steps that's being taken. I feel like, free agency, we've done a great job. Added some Robert Hunt, Clowney, Fuller. There's been some really good signings we checked that box. Now let's move into the draft. How are we going to knock this draft out the park? We've got extra picks. That was a concern. We don't have many picks, but now we have 2 picks in the top 10 of the second round. You know what I mean? So that's good. What are we going to do with them? That's something I need to see, because we have not done well with drafts in the past. If you go back and look at our draft history, it's not been very good. So I need to unpack this one step at a time. Okay, we checked that box. Now we're going to check the draft. Now we're going to start to, check the scheme box. We need to make sure that we're putting the players in the best positions to see. So it's one step at a time. You know what I mean? One step at a time, and we need to make sure we check all the boxes. That's all. So I am optimistic. I think we're heading in the right direction, and I think we're doing a good job.
All right, 10-second answer. At home, Giants, Cowboys, Cardinals, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, plus the NFC South. On the road, Philly, Washington, Chicago, Denver, and the Raiders. One of those may be in Germany. MGM sets the over-under win-loss total at 4.5. Over or under?
Over. Easy. We're over.
That's
easily.
That's
taking that bet. All in.
That's it. That's
all
what I
in
said
on that
too.
bet.
Rashad Beard hosts the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter /X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, go to the YouTube channel, search Panther Nation podcast. Make sure you get subscribed. Click that bell notification because they go live all the time. What you guys got coming up?
Nothing too much, man. I'm getting ready to go on a vacation next week, so I'll be out.
Again. Again, must be nice.
It's not Canada again, is it?
No, definitely not Canada.
Okay,
Not
okay.
Canada.
All right.
A little bit warmer than Canada, but no, I think Dave is going to hold it down, run some draft stuff, so break down some prospects. So yeah, that's what we got coming up.
I like it. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast. Again, make sure you're following them on YouTube. Joins us every Thursday to talk Panther football. My guy, appreciate it, big dog. Talk to you next Thursday.
Absolutely. See you guys later, man. Appreciate you.
You got it. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. You know what else is here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate? Sports flashes like this one. That's not a sports flash.
Okay, it's not playing, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it without it. Okay, the Clemson Tigers basketball team takes to the hardwood tonight in a Sweet 16 matchup against the number 2 seeded Arizona Wildcats. The Tigers haven't made the Elite Eight since 1980, but to break that streak, we'll have to find a way to stop Caleb Love, Pele Larson, and Umar Ballo, all averaging 13 points per game or more. Clemson enters at a 7.5-point underdog. Draymond Green was ejected from last night's 101-93 win over the Orlando Magic in less than 4 minutes. Might be a record, we don't know. Having already confronted officials, Green got into the face of referee Ray Acosta after being issued a technical foul and got another one. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a lot of fun. Wire to Wire. Should have jumped in a little bit faster. Oops.
That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. 864-448-3772.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. Northbound 85 is a little better than it was earlier this morning, but you still have areas where you're going to slow to less than 10 miles an hour between I-185 and Pelham Road. I'm seeing some typical morning rush hour traffic slowdowns now, and northbound 14 is very congested at Pelham Road. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Save big during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's with limited time deals on everything you need. Right now, buy one select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get one DeWalt 20-volt max power stack battery 2-pack free, a $179 value. Plus, save $20 on a select bucket of Deck Plus wood screws. Find these deals and more in-store and online today. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 3/18 through 3/29. While supplies last.
So McAfee
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson
said about the promo that he cut on Austin Theory during their run. He said the other day, when I was having my run with Austin Theory, who I beat, there was a night where I was going to answer Austin Theory. He was going to ask me to apologize or something like that. The wise man heard me in the corner thinking about how I was going to do it. He then literally stops me and he says 3 lines. He's like, you're sorry that his mom made him a B, right? You're sorry that he's insufferable, right? You're sorry that he's the worst human being, right? I go, I am sorry about all those things. He goes, precisely. Then he just walked away. I go out there, talk all the bleep, and the internet is like, Pat is one of the best promos in the game. I told Paul, I'm going on my show tomorrow, and I'm saying, you're the one who told me that. I don't want to get your pop. He goes, no, at some point later. Well, today is that day. We appreciate the hell out of you. Congrats on the Hall of Fame. That's a dope story.
Yeah, it is. You see that Roman Reigns biography on A&E is directed by Paul Heyman.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. The Rob Brown Show.
There is a fight happening on Twitter right now. Welcome back to the Rob Brown Show, final hour, fourth hour, yada, yada, yada. There's a fight going on Twitter right now that I have to take a side on. I have to take a side because the fight happening on Twitter right now is about cake pops. You know what a cake pop is? We all know what cake pops are, right?
I'm not sure I do.
All right. It's like a lollipop, except the part of the lollipop is replaced by a little round ball of cake and frosting. So it's like a lollipop shaped bite of cake.
Frozen or
No,
is it just
cake pops? You get them at Starbucks.
Okay.
There,
well,
so it's not like cake icing. It's like a hard chocolate icing or hard vanilla icing, like a dipped, like you would have, like it's something dipped in chocolate. But the inside
is it wrapped?
cake.
Is it wrapped like a lollipop? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lollipop.
Which
but
is
it's
why
like a
you would have
lollipop
to make
cake.
that frosting hard so
Right.
it wouldn't come off with the wrap. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So it's a lollipop made out of cake, dipped in like a chocolate, like you would like a chocolate shell, like a Dairy Queen chocolate dip cone. It's like that kind of chocolate around a little bite of cake. And for some reason, the internet is just relentlessly dunking on cake pops this morning. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me, like at all.
Well, since I don't drink coffee, I've only
Well, you get them
been to
other places,
Starbucks
too.
with my daughter so she can get, but I've never,
See, I don't drink coffee either. The fiance is a menace to Starbucks. It's just that's the game, right? She will walk across her entire place of work and past 3 places she can get coffee to get Starbucks.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with, you know how much gas money you spent to go all the way over there to go to that just because it's popular?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like they
I guess they probably have a good product since people are buying it, but since we don't partake in the product, I don't know.
They walk past multiple coffee shops to get to a Starbucks. So I'm not a coffee guy, but I will go with the fiance to Starbucks whenever she wants, if we're out and about together. And she's like, I want to go a little out of the way for Starbucks. I'm like, yeah, but I'm straight up. I get a cake pop every time. Every time. I don't drink coffee.
Except for now, because
Well,
you're
except
on a diet and
fatty.
you would never do that.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
So I would get a cake pop. Big cake pop guy. And Starbucks, they do traditionally the vanilla cake with a chocolate shell. That's a winning combination for me. You get a little mix of both. I'm a big fan. But there's people on the internet right now dunking on cake pop. They're like, oh, why don't you just get a piece of cake? You're an adult. You can have cake. I know. Do you want to know what one of the greatest realizations of my life was? When I went to college and I became an adult and I had to go buy my own groceries, one of the things that I learned, and I wish I wouldn't have because it's impacted my adult life greatly, is that, Zoe, you can go to a grocery store and you can just buy a cake. You can just go buy a cake. You don't need to have any reason. Like, you don't have to hand them your ID to prove it's your birthday. You don't have to have them personalized. It doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. You can just go, it's whatever, Thursday, March 28th, and I want a piece of cake. And you just buy a cake. It's a great, great thing about being an adult. But sometimes I don't need a whole damn cake.
By the way, if you have a job and you're 16 and you're technically not an adult, you could buy a cake then too. I don't know what that
Because I lived with my parents at 16 and my dad was not going to be like, oh, you brought home a cake on a Tuesday for no reason. Great job, son. I'm proud of you.
Well, you play it off love you, mom. Boom,
No.
you're done. And you get cake.
No, not how it works. Not how it works.
James
all right?
says, I'm 42, got to act like it sometimes. What's 42 act like? I don't know. What are you, 38, Rob? What's 38 act like?
I'll tell you right now.
But you're 39, aren't you?
39 is not adverse to, cookie cake sounds good tonight. Think I'll bring home a cookie cake. Think I'll bring home a big old double chocolate fudge layered. Think I'll bring home a dough bash cake tonight.
A what?
Dough Bash. It's like a 7-layer cake of. It's almost like a Boston cream cake.
Sounds fancy.
It's delightful. Delightful. Point is, at 39, I buy cake whenever I want. Problem is, sometimes you just want to bite a cake, right? Sometimes you just want a little cake. I don't need a whole ass cake. I just need a little cake.
I don't get all these criticisms. Well, you're not an adult because you're not. Man, just mind your own business. If we want a cake pop, we're going to go get a cake pop.
Well, so that's my point.
And if you want to pay that much money for it, that's on you. You've decided to pay that much money for it.
I think the one thing you have to do in order to be labeled an adult is you have to make responsible choices. And the level of responsibility is different for some people. Like every adult has base things that you have to do. There's just a base level of things that are and you need to meet those. And then depending on your job and your family and whatever, you have to. I don't have the responsibilities of somebody my age who's got a couple of kids. My responsibilities are different, but I do have responsibilities, and you've got to meet them. And I know for me, it is not a responsible decision to bring home a whole ass cake once a week. It's not a responsible decision. It's not healthy. You can label it whatever you. It's not. But what is fine is I don't need a whole damn cake at the house. But you know what I can have? Just a bite, just a nibble, just a touch of cake. Enough cake to remind you that cake is one of the best things about being alive without subjecting my arteries to another day of what are you doing?
So couldn't you, because you're frugal, buy a cake and take an ice cream scooper and just scoop part of the cake out?
What kind of psychopath are you?
No, I don't know if it can be.
What kind of lunatic are you?
You know how many scoops you got in that? And
I don't know, because I would never see a scoop and a cake and go, I'm going to put that apparatus with that cake. That's not what that apparatus is for.
Rob, someone did. How did they make those round things? They would have to use
You bake round balls of cake and then you stick a stick to them. You don't scoop a made cake.
How much air is in that cake that it makes that sound when you puncture it with the stick? I'm one of those guys that goes, okay, let me try this and see if that works. I just think I could get 30, maybe 40 scoops out of one cake.
What kind of psychopath?
Think of it. Isn't it an adult thing to come up with a solution to save money?
Dude, just cut a smaller piece of cake. What are you talking about? Just cut a sliver of cake.
Well, I mean, if cake pops are trending now, you want to trend, so you just use an ice cream scooper on cake.
No, what I want to do is defend.
You got to use the kind with the metal thing, that releases it.
Yeah, it's an ice cream scooper.
Yeah, but they have some that don't have that little metal thing on it.
Well, don't be poor.
Yeah. Is that how that works? I've decided today I'm not going to be poor.
Listen.
I still work in radio, so I'm not going to be able to fix that.
The point here is cake pops are good. All right? They're delightful. You get the little extra frosting on the top. They very frequently have some sprinkles across the top. Sprinkles are never bad. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much of a Billy badass you are. Sprinkles make every cake better. All right? And you can go get just a bite of cake. You don't have to eat a whole, and if you've got the self-control that you can get a cake and just eat a sliver and be like, that's enough cake for me, good on.
What, do you go at a full cake with just a fork?
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem. That's a you problem for sure.
It's very simple. There's no problem to it at all. It's real easy. And especially if it's my cake. This is my cake. Slicing a cake is the adult thing to do, because then other people can come along. The reason we slice a cake is so that the next slice, it's just one cut. Bang, I got a triangle slice. Next cut, bang. Size of the triangle is irrelevant. That's up to you. You slice so that the next person can also take a clean slice. But if it's my cake and I'm the only one eating the cake, yeah, I'm going straight at it with a fork, because nobody else is worried about the ergonomics of the cake. I'm not worried about the comfort of the slice of the next person, because I'm the next person and the person after that. But again, the reason Rob Brown crossed the 260 threshold is because you can buy a whole cake. I don't need a whole cake, but I want to buy the cake. Cake pops are good. What are we doing? What is the vendetta against cake pops? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. They're delightful. All right, that's enough of that. Sweet 16 coming up tonight. We have got 8 games spread across tonight and tomorrow. My thoughts on each. I'm going to go with UConn San Diego State out of the gate. I'm going with UConn here. I like UConn. UConn is arguably the most balanced team in this tournament. We have spent all this time talking about the Connecticut offense, as you should. They're very good. They score a lot of points. What blew my mind was going into the round of 32 when I started looking at metrics, because I did what I should have done before I filled out my bracket in the second round after it was too late. UConn has a top 10 offense and defense. This team is wildly balanced, and of the teams that have a top 10 remaining balanced offense and top 10 defense, they have the highest ranked average of both. UConn's going to beat San Diego State, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I got UConn for the cover here. Illinois, Iowa State is also this evening. Give me the Cyclones in that one. Illinois is a good team offensively. Everything that everyone has been saying about the Houston Cougars, you should be saying about the Iowa State Cyclones as well. That's a good basketball team. Defensively, they smother you from start to finish for 40 minutes. You don't get to take a breath. Unfortunately, that's going to be too much for Illinois. Coming up tonight, North Carolina takes on Alabama. I'm going with the Heels. There are a couple of teams remaining inside of the Sweet 16 that I thought, and I'm not sure I've given up on, but I thought were teams that were going to collapse. Now, I'm going to be honest, in the Rob Brown Show Bracket Challenge, it will be better for me if Alabama wins this game. I've got Alabama inside the Final Four, of course, playing Auburn, who lost to a bunch of freaking nerds from Yale, a bunch of absolute dorks from Yale. But I got Alabama in the bracket after seeing where North Carolina is. This felt to me like a perfect meltdown opportunity for North Carolina. I didn't think they were going to have a problem with the Wagner Seahawks. They did not. I did not think they would have a problem with the winner of Mississippi State, Michigan. They did not. But this feels like a letdown spot to me. This is a North Carolina team at this point that hasn't been super challenged in this tournament. It is a team that I think might be getting back to the point where they are feeling themselves a little bit, where they are, hey, would you look at us? We're Carolina and we're back. This is an Alabama team, though, that found some defense in the last game. They put up a $109 against the College of Charleston, but they let the College of Charleston score 96. That's a recipe for disaster. They turned around in the next one, and they kept Grand Canyon to 61 points on like 40% from the floor. Alabama found a little defense. Problem is they found it against Grand Canyon. I am still trying to figure out why it is in the world that people are trying to pretend that Grand Canyon is UConn, that Grand Canyon is Duke, that Grand Canyon is anybody else. It's a fine mid-major, but it ain't that good. Alabama played a good game against GCU. North Carolina is clicking on all cylinders. Don't be shocked if Alabama wins this game, but I'm picking North Carolina to move on. And finally, Clemson taking on Arizona. This is the first game of the night. This one tips tonight at 7:09 p.m. The Bro Cave, between this and opening day of baseball, the Bro Cave is going to be very, very busy this evening for yours truly. Money line upset. Clemson knocks off Arizona. I like it. I like it a lot. I was on the show yesterday. We opened the show, You Better You Bet, yesterday on the BetQL network. Opened it yesterday talking about this game. And I said, I think Clemson can win this game. I think Clemson can win this game because I have heard some people say, Brad Brownell's not a good X's and O's coach. My dude, you're wrong. Brad Brownell's an excellent X's and O's coach. The problem with Brad Brownell isn't the X's and O's. The problem with Brad Brownell has been the motivation. It has been kicking his team in the butt and getting them in gear. It has been getting them to elevate the emotion of the game to the next level where it needs to be. Brad Brownell has held this team back over the past couple of years because he doesn't motivate them to hit that next gear when it counts. When it comes to the X's and O's, Brad Brownell's fine. He's actually a very good X's and O's coach. He knows ball. He understands tactics and offenses. In fact, if anything, that last game against Baylor, that little mini run that Baylor went on to come back and take the lead late in that game happened because the players weren't executing, not because the strategy was bad, in my opinion. Brad Brownell now had 2 games under his belt to realize, okay, teams are going after P.J. Hall. Teams are attacking the big guy. They are trying to get him into foul trouble early, and in 2 consecutive games, it's worked. So how do we fix that? Better defense from the guards, slow the game down just a little bit, make sure that we are taking good shot selection threes on the other end of the floor. And we've seen Clemson do that a couple of times. We have seen them do that a couple of times. I don't see any reason why that necessarily has to change tonight. Give me Clemson on the money line upset over Arizona tonight, please and thank you. Los Tigres move into the Elite Eight for the first time since 1980. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 college basketball experts on the show yesterday. Not 1, not 2, but 3 college basketball experts on the show yesterday all said that they are going Clemson on the money line outright upset. And I am riding with them on that one. Let's take a break. When you come back, it's Thursday. And you know what that means? We are a week and 2 days away from the sports spectacle of the year, WrestleMania. When we come back, it's Fight Club with the great Alonzo. We got MMA, we got boxing, we got pro wrestling and more. And it's all coming up on the Rob Brown radio program and the Fan Upstate.
So that was you, not the internet.
Yes,
right?
that was.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Honestly, reminding me that my password expired.
No, I'm talking about the pen drop. Was that a pen drop?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're supposed to. Right. So if it wasn't, I was going to report it. That's why I'm clarifying.
We good. Now we're not good. I'm breaking stuff over here. Struggling. Did I put another beverage in here? I did not. Hey, be right back, guys. I'm going to run the office and grab a water. We will return ever so briefly. Please stay right there. BRB. Y'all, we're back. Thanks for hanging in there, everybody.
Hey, your band is back, according to email, REO Speedwagon.
Coming back here again?
March 29th.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
I'm going to. I'll go see him again. I enjoyed it.
Like I said, my wife and my daughter were very glad that I did not go because well, my daughter can't keep a straight face. I can, so I don't know why they're worried about me. I'd have been fine. It's about the crowd. It's not about the band. You go ahead and you go to that concert and you look around and try to decide if you belong there.
I'm going to.
And if you look around and you decide you belong there, you old. I don't need reminders like that. My legs take care of that. And they're
take it on the run, baby. That's the way you want it, baby.
Don't break the microphone.
I don't want you around. Da, 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 da.
Accepting your settlement with your VA benefits fully protected. But the deadline for filing is fast approaching, so you need to act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune, and with the deadline coming, you need to call now or you may forever lose your right to a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-885-2277, 800-885-2277, 800-885-2277.
March is here, and so is the madness. It's March Madness. Get down with the fan. Upstate is your home for exclusive Westwood One coverage for the journey to the tourney. It's March Madness. This is absolute madness. March Madness from Westwood One on the fan. Upstate 97.7 FM, Greenville 97.9 FM.
I just don't think he's good to be.
My style is impetuous, my decision is impregnable. Not just ferocious, I want your heart, I want to eat your children. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. Just give a chance to what the he wants.
Let's start this fight club by saying you heard some Conor McGregor there. If you want to see a lot of Conor McGregor, you should watch Roadhouse. You'll see a lot more of Conor McGregor than you expected to see.
Yeah, it's going to work out because I dislike him in real life, which means I'm going to hate him even more as an intentional bad guy in a movie. I bet he's spectacular.
He is. He's surprisingly funny too. So, I mean, yeah.
Listen, I've never thought anything. The guy is compelling and entertaining. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I hate his entertainment and personality.
Apparently, he made a lot of money for that movie because, he might need some. Because he never makes money at anything.
Stop punching old men.
Hey, that's an Irish mafia thing. You cannot make me not believe that. All right. Speaking of money and contracts, a big name WWE wrestler talked about her contract being up in 2 months. Yesterday, she made rounds because she has a book coming out, and that would be Becky Lynch. Surprised everyone saying her contract's up in 2 months. She was praising TNA. She's praising it. Is this a money grab? Is she trying to get paid more? Or would Becky Lynch actually follow a fellow horsewoman to another company?
Nah, she ain't go nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. I think her being her and Seth bring their kid with them on the road. As far as my understanding, I can't imagine a world in which she breaks that up. I think it's a money play, and frankly, I think it's deserved. Women's wrestling is as popular as it has ever been in history right now. And whether or not you like Becky Lynch is irrelevant. She is part of the reason why. Even if you don't think she's still pushing it today, she pushed it to get it where it is now. And she's going to say, I deserve to get paid for it. She's not wrong.
I think she leaves because there are plenty of relationships that are going on between the two companies. I mean, look at Buddy Murphy and his fiance. I forget her name. She's pretty popular right now.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's she wears black a lot.
Excuse me.
What did you belch?
You will put some respect
Wow.
on mommy's name.
No, she's overrated. People just like what she does with her body, and they're fascinated by that. But her wrestling still not on par with someone who should be carrying the women's division because she doesn't. Other wrestlers do.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, yeah, I can just start naming off the top of my head better wrestlers than her. Bailey is a better wrestler. Charlotte, obviously a better wrestler. Bianca Belair, better wrestler. I could keep going. I really could. But that's fine. I think Becky leaves. I think she goes to AEW.
I don't see any reason why she wouldn't.
Well, here's why she would. If she is out for money, and I'm not saying she is, but if she is out for money, Tony Khan will pay her a lot of money to come there.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I also think with the departure of what was he referred to? That paragon of morality that used to be in charge, with the new guy in charge, with Paul Triple H Levesque in charge. I don't think she can necessarily get more, because I do think there is, and I'm sure this will come up at some point in the near future. I think there is a saturation problem at AEW right now. And while Tony Khan comes from a very nice place in being the billionaire dork of a son that has basically been able to just play with daddy's money this whole time, there is a point where there is a point of no return for putting in and not getting out. And as I'll say, large as the women's division, I'm not going to say well booked because it's not, but as large as the women's division is over on AEW right now, adding Becky months after you handed what I assume is one of the largest contracts in history to a women's wrestler in Mercedes Moné not too long ago, I think you might be overdoing it over there. I could be wrong.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think the bidding war of 2024 may have nothing to do with MJF. It may have to do with Becky Lynch, and we'll see. We will see. All right. Before we get to what happened Monday, let's talk about what happened last Friday between Cody and Roman. The lack of trust promo. What did you think about that? Both saying, "Hey, who's really in charge over there?" is what Cody was saying, talking about the final boss, and of course, you got Roman talking about the Shield and how he was betrayed by Seth Rollins and asking Cody why he trusts him. They have painted, this picture has been painted so well. In the past, I would be concerned that this whole thing would be ruined because of all the buildup. But as you said, with Triple H in charge, it should not. But that promo, was my favorite segment of Roman on the mic ever.
They're both right. Like the reason this story is compelling is because they're both right. Would it blow your mind at all if Seth was to turn his back on Cody at some point? Not really. I mean, it's unlikely because I just don't think I think this story has reached its apex. WrestleMania is the apex. You can't take this story any further. It's already exhausted. You've gotten people hooked back in with The Rock and what The Rock's been doing, but it can't go any further than that. Doesn't mean you can't tease the threat of it as a possibility. So Roman's absolutely right to tell Cody, you can't trust that guy. And Cody's absolutely right about Roman and whether or not he can trust The Rock. The Rock coming out and he at one point, and I know it's little stuff, but how big has the foreshadowing been in these shows lately, right? Like, for instance, during Raw, and we'll talk about this in a minute.
No, don't you ruin that for me, because I was getting ready to talk about that. But
the Drew and Paul part?
No, actually, we're going to get to that.
Okay, so I won't go too far. You saw a moment during a promo where Drew McIntyre and Paul Heyman were talking to each other well in the background of a shot, and then that turned out to be important later. So because of the foreshadowing, I was very interested a couple of weeks ago when Rock first showed up, and he said, "I'm going to do everything I can to ensure you lose." But if you watch it, he actually side glances at Roman when he says that,
and
right?
it's a whole, he doesn't hold the finger up. He holds the loser up. Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of stuff, which may or may not be important long-term. That's the fun part of this thing. Wrestling
and it could have been an accident. And then they saw the reaction on social media and decided to continue with it.
100%. So I think all of that is what makes this whole thing fun. But the tease of all of that, Roman's got a point, Cody's got a point. It's classic good guy versus bad guy, but it's not a thick line in between them. There's a little blur in both directions, and that to me is when this sport's at its best.
All right, talked about foreshadowing. Let's jump to Monday. All right, first of all, the fact that The Rock said he was going to do smear the blood of Cody Rhodes on a belt that he had designed to give to Cody's mom, and he made it sound like that was going to happen at WrestleMania. You and I talked about this off the air. This bothers me a little bit that he did it so early, and I'm worried that part of that is he needs to make sure that the moneymaker doesn't get. I mean, is there some rule where The Rock cannot be hit in the face because of how much money he's making? And also the foreshadowing part. All right, people noticed that on the bus where The Rock was beating Cody up was a picture of Austin and a picture of John Cena. Now there are rumors, and like there always are, that both of those guys are going to show up to WrestleMania, but it's WrestleMania. Cena's almost always at WrestleMania. Austin's been there the last couple. So we probably will get the moment that you keep talking about, and that's that Avengers moment where all these guys come out to help Cody. But what if they come out and they don't help Cody?
Well, it's going to depend. I mean, listen, I think we're all pretty committed at this point to Rock and Roman beat Seth and Cody on night one, which means it's bloodline rules, which means those bad. But again, if the bloodline rules means they can interfere, it also means anybody else can. That's where I think we get that Avengers Assemble moment. And I think that's great. And again, about the foreshadowing, right? Right before that beatdown, a couple of segments before, you saw Paul and Drew talking in the background, and then Drew ends up coming up to help the bloodline in that little fiasco at the end. So like the background is important to wrestling shows again. Now you have to not just watch the segment, you got to watch what's happening in the background because they're dropping little stuff. And I think that's fantastic. I don't know about
blood on the WWE, man.
It's big.
Yeah.
Right? For the record, that was the most cinematic thing that they have done since like COVID Mania a couple of years back, to have Rock drag Cody by ripped shirt out into the rain with the breath coming out, pinning him up against his own bus. Like it was important and intentional. And I thought that was great. I don't know whether or not, Rock can't take a bump until the match or whatever. Here's what I do know. That moment made Cody look not just like more of a baby face, but it also made it look like, oh, damn, The Rock is not playing around, right? Like the first couple of weeks, you kind of got that vibe of The Rock's here for a Hollywood run. He's here to give himself something to do and get some pub before his next round of movies, whatever you want to say. That Monday, that final segment, actually the first one where he came out, whispered something to Cody and left. We didn't know he was going to be there. They kept advertising him for Friday.
Right. It was a shocker when he came out. Yeah. They kept that hidden pretty well.
And when he came out and you felt the air, that jump in that, and then he just whispered something to Cody and left, and Cody wouldn't tell us what it was. That's incredible. And then that beat down, it went from Rock's here, he's going to wrestle a soft match. It's a tag match so Roman can carry some heat. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, this dude came to whoop somebody's ass. This dude is here to fight. And by the way, that to me, that was a blade job from Cody. That's a blade. That didn't look like a blood pack to me. Blood packs are usually a little bit thinner.
Side of the head, the right side of the head, I think is because that's where the most blood was clotted or whatever. I don't know.
I don't either. But the fact that we know
is
what makes it so good.
We know those guys who've been cut open so many times, it's not that hard for them to be cut open. But obviously that was on purpose because of the belt. I guess they could have improv'd it. He could have, but he had that particular belt. But it's a great setup. And hopefully that is foreshadowing. Hopefully Cena and Austin do come out. And but we'll see whose side they're on, because they could swerve a different direction with that. Also, Ronda Rousey's been doing a lot of talking lately about Vince McMahon and about the women's division and a lot of things like that. Is this, even though she says she would never go back, she says she wishes her final run would have been with Triple H in charge. And Becky Lynch also mentioned that Ronda Rousey doesn't know how to wrestle, which we already kind of knew that.
What Becky said was Ronda Rousey doesn't know how to wrestle because when she got there, they didn't know how to teach her.
Right.
And I think that's a difference. It's one thing to go, she can't wrestle. It's another thing to go, when she showed up, she didn't know how to wrestle, and the people in charge did not know how to communicate and work with her to get her there.
The way things are working with long-term storylines, is it a possibility that Ronda Rousey ends up back in the WWE
100%.
against Becky Lynch, who's newly signed?
Absolutely possible, because when Ronda Rousey first showed up, and you go back to that WrestleMania match that she had against Triple H and Steph, and
The Rock was her partner.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was good. Her first feud with Charlotte, it was good. Initially, she was good, but unfortunately, once they moved past that, and she was not a good promo, and she never got better. And now she has said, they didn't work with me, right? In fact, she had a quote where she said, I'm frustrated because they're showing you with this bloodline stuff that they can work a year out. They can have an idea that takes a year to get to. She goes, I was showing up to the arena with no idea what I was doing that night. I would show up, but right before the show, they'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's your thing. I think they just expected that because she was the big deal, the biggest deal for a while, the face of UFC, not women's, the face of UFC. I think they just expected she was going to show up and just be able to do that. And not everybody can. So I absolutely accept that she did not get the same developmental opportunities that a lot of other people do who step up. And listen, there are some celebrities show up and they just get it. Bad Bunny showed up, just got it. Logan Paul showed up, just gets it. She didn't. And that's okay. Most celebrities don't, and they've got to be worked into this thing. And I feel now like she was not. So Triple H clearly knows how to help out with people like that. I could absolutely see her make a run back.
All right. So many things to get to, so little time. So I want to jump to this. This was just announced. WWE has announced a speed tournament, 3-minute matches that are only going to be on X, and they will crown a 3-minute champion. The space and silence there was on purpose.
My loins have been tingling.
Yes, that's what I want to go down as. Rob Brown, your undisputed, reigning, defending 3-minute champion.
This was on me. My bad.
Which is what you say if you're the 3-minute champion, by the way.
I got to say, 3-minute matches on X might draw some more people to the product. As if they're already selling out. Why not go for it? I'm interested to see what they do.
I'm ready to go full boomer for give me 30 seconds to go full boomer. Okay, 30 seconds. The biggest problem that social media has created in this country over the past 10 years is the fact that it has completely shrunk our attention span down to that of a goldfish. And the problem with that is that now you can't put things together that take a long time to develop. You have to give me what I want, and you have to give me what I want right this very second. So instead of doing good wrestling with good matches and put it together, we're going to go, hey, teeny boppers out there, I know you can only pay attention to something for 90 seconds. So here is a 90-second wrestling match. Enjoy. See you for the next one. And it is pathetic. End of rant.
Just about everything WWE does lately is successful. So it's probably going to be successful. We'll see. All right.
Listen, we're both going to watch it.
Absolutely.
Let's not pretend we're not.
I'll watch it during the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need the sound.
All right, guys, we're going to a 4-minute break for no reason. BRB. Ricochet's in a 3-minute match. BRB. Here's the thing. The reason this doesn't work is you have had how many 3-minute matches in the last couple of years? 1 or 2? Like 1 or 2 squash.
They're squashes. That's what they are.
Unless you either have to make this a bunch of squash jobs, or you're going to have it's 3 minutes, but we have like a judges scoring system where a takedown's a point, a submission's a point. Because
in which case, Chad Gable will be probably the first champion.
You can't have your stars, even if it's for a dumb internet gimmick. You can't have your stars getting pinned in 180 seconds and expect me to be cool with it.
All right, a couple more things. Let's talk about something that's really rock and roll. Mike
Mike
Tyson is training for his fight in Cottonwood, Arizona at the gym of Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan.
That is an ad lib I did not expect today. That's full on Mad Lib is what that is.
That's not an ad lib. That's a story. I mean, I read that story when I was looking that he's training at the Tool frontman. So imagine he's in there, he's boxing, there's Tool playing. I think that's amazing. But not what you would expect.
No, I'd expect my guy to be like in a boxing gym with boxing trainers. All it says to me is, why am I taking this seriously?
By the way,
my man went to country-ass Alabama to train in a band's garage.
No.
Yeah, I take it seriously.
By the way, Cottonwood, Arizona, just because I said Arizona.
I thought you said Alabama.
No, I said Arizona. And just because it's a gym, it doesn't say what kind of gym it is. It could be a boxing gym. The dude from Tool could have a boxing gym, MMA gym, a lot of things out there in Arizona as far as training goes for MMA. So
right, listen, I don't know if Diesel's still listening. I know he was earlier because he texted me. Diesel, if you're still listening, is the front man of Tool, I don't know, a professional boxer who runs a professional boxing ring? Or is he just a dude who maybe likes boxing and is rich, so he bought a ring?
All right. I think it's rock and roll. I don't care what Rob says. You would think he'd put his hate aside and put his music love, in front. I think it's rock and roll that he's training at the Tool frontman's gym. All right. And I hate that we only have a minute or so to do this. Why does better wrestling get less people in the stands and a story gets more?
Very simple.
It's because the better wrestling right now is in AEW.
For sure.
Especially the last couple of weeks, the wrestling has been amazing. But the story, I think our wrestling fans, and has it always been this way? Are wrestling fans more about story, or are they more about the wrestling?
I can explain it. In fact, not only do that, I can cross the streams here. Over in the National Basketball Association right this second, you have 3 teams at the top of the West, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Thunder, all within a half game of each other. It is a 3-way race that is exceptionally good. What is everybody talking about when it comes to the NBA West? The Lakers and the Warriors fighting it out to be a play-in team. Why are we talking about the teams at the bottom instead of the teams at the top? The answer is because we as people love drama. We love drama. We pay attention to drama. We follow drama. And you can tell me you don't. Why do you think politics have gotten so freaking dramatic over the years? Is it because it's different than it was in years gone by? No, it's because that's how you get attention, because we all love drama. And if you say you don't love drama, you're a liar. We love our drama and we love our stories. Even wrestling fans, they're people too. So we gravitate towards great stories. And if we get great wrestling attached, amazing. When I want to just watch fun wrestling matches, hell yeah, I'm going to AEW. But right now, even I will admit, the stories WWE's putting together on the road to WrestleMania are good right now.
Can AEW fix that? And they need MJF back. They need some guys like that to push a story that will actually work. The MJF thing, that worked. That was it 6 months or a year long? The whole deal leading up to Wembley, that worked for AEW.
It absolutely can be fixed, but what it's going to take is AEW to acknowledge that drama is as important. Tony Khan, as a wrestling dork, went out and got the best wrestlers in the world. With the exception of the guys that were already in WWE, he is getting the best wrestlers in the world. That's why Will Ospreay is there. He is the best wrestler on planet Earth right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. No question.
So he's getting all the best wrestlers, in-ring wrestlers in the world. But they need to go get some creative guys too. They need to go get some guys who know how to tell great stories. And they need to teach these guys how to do that, because at the end of the day, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega can only carry you so far. Why do you think Don Callis is the best thing in AEW right now? Because he tells a great story as a jackass. And that's what we want. That's what we want. We want to see, at the end of the day, wrestling will always have the same tropes. Why? Because bad guy being bad guy and eventually getting his butt whooped by good guy is something we all want to be a part of. We love our drama. That's why we love wrestling. Back after this to wrap up the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
and Jadeveon Clowney have agreed to a deal. Clowney, the top overall pick in the 2014 draft, is a native of Rock Hill, South Carolina. He was a star at South Point High School. He also attended the University of South Carolina. The Texans took him first overall in 2014. He'll get bonuses for reaching 8, 10, and 12 sacks each season. The deal worth about $20 million over 2 years. Manischew's today, Sweet 16, 6th seed Clemson takes on 2nd seed Arizona in the West region. That game tips off just after 7 o'clock. The Tigers 20 later tonight. Top seed North Carolina takes on 4th seed Alabama in the West regional. The Tar Heels are 29-7. The Crimson Tide 23-11. NBA Wednesday, the Hornets beat the Cavaliers 118-11. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash from the Fan Upstate.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrade, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Free Odyssey app. CBS Sports Radio. Now, the Rob Brown Show presents
It's a little early, but we're like in that in-between time. All right. The first thing that's Xing, and this was interesting, at least I thought so, is Don Wells.
Don Wells?
All right. Don Wells played Marianne on Gilligan's Island.
Ooh. Dawn, D-A-W-N.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it now. I thought you said Dawn, D-O-N, like the Dawn. I'm gonna be straight up with you. If we're power ranking the ladies of Gilligan's Island, like I think America put Marianne first, right?
I believe so, and that's why it's just trending again. Because every once in a while, you get Marianne or Ginger has to show up, and it did. I was going to use other words there, and I fixed it. So.
It's a great discussion to have because the reality is, and this is where the fight breaks down. I'm going to tell you, Ginger was a smoke show. Ginger was hot. Ginger was, I would argue, the hotter of the two. But Marianne was the one that you could, you could see yourself going long-term wife with.
So you could live the rest of your life on the island with Marianne, or if you were to get rescued.
Yeah, because like Ginger was she was always gonna be high maintenance. You were always gonna have to go out and food scavenge and build and whatever. And good and darn well, Marianne was going to pitch in with all that. She was going to be a spectacular trapped on a deserted desert island after a 3-hour tour. She was going to be way the one you wanted to be there with.
Here's the thing. If you are a true, without a doubt, straight up player, you wouldn't have to pick. You could go both.
I don't know, man.
I'm just saying.
The professor was right there.
Yeah.
My man was building radios out of coconuts, dog.
But
you're not competing with the professor.
Yeah, but
he was a handsome SOB.
He was very handsome, but he could not get you off the island. So
it doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter. If you and the professor are trapped on an island with Ginger and Marianne, he's getting the pick. He has got the first round pick there because he can, even if he can't get you off the island, he can make all the stuff they need to be comfortable. So they are going to both go to him. He's going to get his pick, and you're going to get whoever has to settle. Sorry, that's me too.
I was going to say, I think you think lesser of yourself because I would think that if you were there on the island, you'd be the go-to guy.
No, for what?
I mean,
what can you do the professor can't? He's young, he's handsome, he's jacked, he can build stuff.
I don't know that he was jacked.
He was he was an in-shape bro. I'm not saying this to be weird or like derogatory, because me too. The professor is getting the first round pick. There is nothing on the island that you can do. The professor can't do better than you. That you don't have to do those things to get to do them first.
Well,
if you get my drift.
I mean, there might be some things that go unsaid. That you might be better at than the professor.
Ginger and Marianne are still not letting you get to that point until you build them a coconut radio, bro.
I'm just I think you're pro nerd here, and I appreciate that, but you're selling yourself short.
No, I'm not.
I think you are. I think.
Listen,
you are.
I'll say this. I'm power ranked above Gilligan. I'm power ranked above the skipper. I'm power ranked above the millionaire. I'm power ranked above every dude except the 9 times the Globetrotters showed up. They're all going to beat me too. But the reality here is if you're power ranking the dudes that get their choice of Ginger or Marianne, it's the professor, a lot of blank paper, and then everybody else.
Or in today's society, Ginger chooses Marianne, and the guys are just left out.
It's 2024. Let her live.
I mean, there we go. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff, of course, the longtime wrestling figure who I know has been in the news a couple of times, so I don't know why he's trending.
He is ending his business podcast, but it has elicited comments from Tony Khan. And so Tony Khan is going back and forth with Bischoff about his failed business podcast.
All right.
Another one of those cases where someone is, doesn't need to comment, but they are.
As has been said many times, I am an AEW stan. I want it to succeed. I want it to be great. I truly believe competition breeds greatness. Tony, my guy. You got to stop, dude. Like, I think the problem is Tony's one of those dorks that thinks that wrestling is real life, like is his real life. Well, Lonzo and I've made the joke. It's not entirely a joke, but like everything is wrestling, right? Because wrestling, it's a mirror. It's a distorted mirror on real life. I think Tony thinks everything is wrestling. So I think Tony thinks every conversation that ever happens anywhere needs a face and needs a heel. It's not how the world works entirely, my guy. Like, you don't have to start feuds with everybody. Just make your wrestling good. Just make it good.
One last thing, Florence Pugh is Xing.
I saw that one earlier too.
They're filming Thunderbolts. They've started.
Florence Pugh can do anything she wants.
You remember Thunderbolts? You know what that is? It's like the Avengers, and she's showing the chair with the
I just saw the
thing on it. Yeah, so
I love Florence Pugh. By the way, she was so good in Black Widow.
She was. She was also good in Hawkeye.
Why do you do the hair flip?
When she was making macaroni and cheese for Kate Bishop.
Great.
Yes.
She's great. I love her. That's it for the show, kids. Thank you guys very much. Texter said Rob's right. You'd have to hand off to the professor in the middle of the night. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. When the professor knocks on the door and goes, Ginger, it's your turn, she is leaving your hut for the professor.
Yeah, but if she was in your hut in the first place, in your hand,
she's in your hut because she had nowhere else to go until the professor came a calling. You're last on the list, dog. Sorry.
Okay, there's a word that comes to mind, but I'm not saying it.
See y'all back here tomorrow for the Friday edition of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate later. Yeah.
So in that scenario, the professor got seconds. That's what. Yeah, in the scenario you just said.
In a world in which Marianne has a choice, you are the second choice. That's not an insult. You don't have to take it as an insult.
Ain't nobody out there with you, except for that one texter. And it's just, no.
Dude, what are you talking about? All right, I have to take this. I have to take this debate public to the ladies. I need tomorrow. I'm asking the lady listeners to chime in on this. This is an important conversation.
But see, we're putting ourselves in that scenario. So if you're going to do this, then you're like setting every other guy up for disappointment.
Dude, every guy is listen. If you are going to tell me you outpull a professor, you have to be handsome because he's a handsome
Yeah,
fella.
yeah.
There were episodes he had his shirt off. He's in shape, real good shape. He can build anything out of nothing and do it consistently.
Except for a boat.
He had the nicest hut on the island because he's the professor. Like, what do you bring to the table that outranks the professor? Literally name me anything you do better than the professor that he can't get to before you do.
Sense of humor.
The professor was hilarious, dude.
Was he?
He was a goofball. He was hilarious. Yes. Now I have to go home and watch Gilligan's Island, for God's sake. It's baseball day. I didn't do baseball for like the last hour and a half, by the way. You're all welcome. There is nothing you are bringing to the island that the professor can't outdo you. Nothing. There's nothing you got he don't got.
I disagree.
I'm
not
even name it.
I am not putting myself in the scenario. I've been putting you in the scenario.
Put me in the scenario.
And
I think I do better than the professor.
I'll put Cole in the scenario. I will put Diesel in the scenario. All three of you guys, you're better than the professor.
No, we're not.
You are.
And it's okay to admit it. There's nothing wrong with it. The professor was a stud, dude. A stud. The only thing would be is if they got with the professor on night one and they found out he was a bad lover. They're like, maybe you're there. Like, maybe you can like pull one after they find out he's a lazy lover. That's it. That's all you got.
All I'm saying is the professor didn't seem that interested. He was more interested in his gadgets and his inventions. And if you want someone to not pay,
even the prudest dude is eventually going to be like,
how long were they on that island? They were there for a long time.
Like seasons.
Right.
This is my favorite dumb argument we've ever had. All right, guys, that's it for us. Thanks for hanging out. Be ready for this conversation tomorrow. All right. I want you to power rank yourself. We're all going behind.
Hey, tomorrow's Friday. So, yeah, why not?
All right. Y'all have a great day. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.